Talking about you got this and you got that, and you gonna murder this one and murder that one. Talking all that bullshit. I'm gonna put it to you like this, yo.
This is for the nerds, this is for the brainiacs, this what we deserve. Go ahead and play it back, you ain't gonna touch me, you not gonna do nothing, you are not above me. I bet you wish you was me, I know it, I know.
What is poppin', everybody? And welcome back to another special episode of the Only Friends podcast. Well, you know, it's me and my only friends, which includes, but is not limited to, my boy behind the ones and twos, Guapito. What's poppin', Guapo?
The great game of PLO.
Oh, yeah?
I want all the smoke, Connie.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Are you challenging me or something?
I mean, I've been doing it for the last 2 days.
Oh, my God. Guapo, I'm trying to save you. Do you not understand you just lose to me?
I don't think I would lose.
Guapo, there isn't anything that you've ever challenged me to that you've won. You've everything that you even like. We go back and forth about like an argument about if something's right or wrong. You're wrong. Like it's I'm batting 1,000.
And that's
only
pretty,
against Guapo. You're like 0 against everyone else.
I don't know what I am against. Actually, I'm 1-0 against Berkey today.
I won't stand for this slander.
I'll take that. But Guapo, just retire. I try to just ignore when you say
Guapo,
stuff like this.
I won't stand for this slander of you. Conrad is absolutely the most lovable loser in this room, and
the man has never lost.
He's not gonna push that onto you, man.
Listen, man, the man has never won.
We're not playing for life-changing stakes here. It's just little 25-cent, 50-cent PLO.
But you've never won.
Speak for yourself.
What do you mean never won? Who are you talking to right now?
You've never won against me. You're just drawing dead.
We've never played poker against each other.
All right, fine. I'll meet you downstairs after the podcast.
Wow.
He only threw it to you because you spent 20 minutes pre-production shaving.
Yeah, I know. I had to give him some shine.
I still got a long ways to go, but yeah.
Let's see how it looks. Get the camera on yourself.
I had to do the hedges,
Oh, yeah, you're looking good.
Clean up the neck.
Mm-hmm.
The sides,
looks good,
try to
man.
take away as many grays as I can.
Why did you have your shirts off?
Why do I have what?
Why did you have your shirts off while shaving?
Because I don't want hair all over my shirt.
Yeah. Does that not make sense?
That doesn't make sense?
I was just wondering.
All right.
Was this a question?
I don't know. I think he was migrating south. Get a little
Did
trim
you get
in.
your chest hair?
I actually don't have chest hair, which is kind of weird. I got the hairiest face, but no hair on my chest.
It's just like...
I don't think it's weird. I think it's lucky.
Yeah.
Look at you, Mr. Lucky. Well,
lucky guy.
Some women like chest hair.
I'm thrilled to be back. It's All-Star Day, baby.
Woo!
Got my Brian Reynolds jersey on.
Let's go. Oh, my God.
Representing.
Man, is he on fire.
You know, he is, and it wasn't until I started to pay attention to the rest of the league that I realized how little it matters. Ohtani has 29 home runs at the break.
It's not just about home runs. Literally.
Yeah, it's not just about home runs.
Would you like to have...
It's not like Ohtani's hitting fucking 260.
Would you like to have Juan Soto on your team?
In general?
Yeah, well, we do. His name is Brian Reynolds.
This year,
Yeah.
I mean, Juan Soto is absolutely fucking crushing it right now.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean... Did I say Brian Reynolds? I'm sorry. Roddy Tellez. Since June 1st, he's batting. He's just as good as Juan Soto, which is insane.
Tellez is on point right now. He's absolutely crushing.
Yeah, he is.
I don't like this PGH. It feels icky.
Oh, what? That's so good.
Someone else told me
look how beautiful that is.
No,
like
just like the letters together.
Well, that's that's the City Connect jersey, right? So that's why it's PGH.
Yes, I get that Pittsburgh is PGH, but I don't like the letters. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? It looks kind of...
You know what? Those letters don't like you.
I got a quick LOL for you. How many home runs do you think fucking Aaron Judge has right now?
45.
He has 34.
Yeah, pretty close.
He's like on pace to break the record.
Yeah, he's an animal.
That's absurd.
An absolute animal.
Is All-Star Game All-Star break halfway
Should
through?
be halfway, yeah.
Nearly.
It's a little over.
It's late this year.
It's usually like 97 games. There's 81 is the halfway point, but everyone has played around 96, 97 games.
This is the latest I've ever remember it being. Usually it's like a little after the 4th. I mean, today's the 16th.
No, it usually is like...
Today's the 16th.
16th? Yeah, that seems a little bit late. Yeah, maybe just because of how the calendar fell. But I feel like it's usually like 12, 13, somewhere in that. Like the third week of July, usually.
Well, what it really is the next to last day of the WSOP. And for that, we all pour one out for our fallen homies. Landon is getting drowned right now.
Do not count Landon out. He still has the closer, as do I.
Only the WSOP.
I'm going to hold on to this hopium until the last chip is fucking gone.
Only the WSOP would run a series that is supposed to end with an event called the closer and then do a 1K super turbo the next day.
That is true.
Like, what the fuck is that event?
That's the closing.
That's the hopium?
Mm-hmm.
Just in case?
Yeah, they didn't add a minus to my number.
That would've been great.
You're looking real great right now.
That's what'll happen after the closer.
Maybe it's a premonition.
Yeah, it's a sign.
Is the turbo? It's a 1 day.
Yeah.
Oh, so I mean the closer.
Super turbo.
The closer also ends on the same day. So.
Well, I don't know if that's fair.
How closers should
I don't
work.
know if I don't think ending time is relevant to starting time.
Like if they wanted to, they should just
like you can call the main event the closer.
So it
ends tomorrow also.
Right, but like you're not going to have the turbo today and also have the closer today, right? So you have the closer tomorrow after all the people busted the closer, and then they can play that. What are you going to do?
I don't know. Call the super turbo the closer.
Then call this what? Something else?
Just in case.
Anything else? The little one for one drop. I don't fucking
just
know.
in case.
Yeah.
The Summer Saver.
Yeah.
15
No,
minutes.
that's online today.
Wait,
That's
they
Summer
used to have-
Saver is online today.
Didn't they used to have maybe it's online, but didn't they used to have an event called the Summer Saver?
Yeah.
It was online.
It was what's now the closer.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
Sure.
They also have the online.
Venetian
The closer used to be a 1K.
I think
I'm
we're
pretty
nitpicking.
sure. The Summer Saver was a 1500.
Actually, it's funny. I feel like every property had a closer because I'm pretty sure Venetian had one too.
Also,
Or the Summer Saver, not closer.
why don't the other properties extend past tomorrow? That seems crazy to me. Like, I would be running a massive weekend series if I were Venetian or Win.
That's
Yeah.
probably true. Venetian started another one on August 2nd.
People got to still be here, right?
I mean, through the weekend, why not?
Yeah.
Like,
And
run your.
also if there were events, they would stay.
That's what I mean. Like, run your big main event.
Yeah.
Like, run your 3K this weekend, or start it tomorrow.
Yeah.
Today, even. Who
Honestly,
knows?
just start a whole series starting tomorrow for the next 2
I'm
weeks.
just trying to get more
and
events
just,
on this fucking bet.
No, I mean,
and just
man.
call it Stuck Balls.
Like, let's
Pray
just
for us.
We just need to extend this bet another, I don't know,
5 years?
week, month, year. Just keep it rolling, baby.
I don't think the bet will end anytime soon.
What are you talking about? It ends fucking tomorrow.
Yeah, I get that, but I think we'll run it back.
Yeah, I mean, great.
Will you run it back next summer, or will you run it back for December? You run it back in
Not sure.
perpetuity?
In perpetuity, Crossbook forever. I don't know. I'm sure we'll figure it out, and maybe it will or won't prolong itself.
Yeah.
But I think we're both going to Florida to play the 5K.
I feel pretty confident that
Florida's one hell of a
tomorrow's
drug.
the end of this.
The end of
all
days.
over. It's all
It's the end of
over,
days.
bud.
You need to win something in the next 24 hours.
So there's
Otherwise,
this,
we move
there's
on.
the 1K, and then there is a 1600 mystery at the Venetian, which is the last tournament.
When is that?
Tomorrow.
So,
Like if I bust the Super Turbo one
it's
day
also
thing,
a 1 day?
it's a 2 day, but it counts because it's the last bullet fired, right? So the
okay.
bet ends like on the 17th, but you can play stuff on the 17th.
Right.
It's the
If you
last day to
bag-
register.
Right.
Yeah, so if you bag something, you're not going to get punished for,
Correct.
for
Okay.
playing the bullet on the day before.
Okay. All right.
So there's
I like
a couple
that.
things left, but morale is
Low.
morale. It's fine.
Or else it should be fine. I mean,
I'm-
it's just this is a typical summer for
I mean,
what a
lot
hero
of professional
story.
poker players.
What a hero story. Back against the wall. 2 events left on the schedule.
We're both having losing summers, man. It's kind of to be.
Don't fucking
It's
cope.
all over, bro.
Don't cope.
It's all
I'm not
over. You heard
coping.
that?
Sounds a little bit like cope.
Sounds
You
a
know
little
what?
like cope.
Just go to sleep,
Yeah.
man.
I just won stuff too early, but there's still a chance.
Win stuff too early.
Like I won
Well,
to win
the-
400 in April.
You won the WPT,
and I
or you got second in the WPT.
I
yeah.
almost won that one too early.
Yeah.
But there's hope. There's hope. I was in for 4 yesterday somehow. I'm hoping not to have that be the case again, but you never know.
I don't care how many you're in for. I just care that you are there when
Yeah.
there's 9 left.
I mean, if you look at your entire year, you're up significantly on the year. It just
Significantly.
Who cares?
It just happened
Nobody
that the
cares.
Crossbook just happened to fall in this certain time frame
He doesn't
of where
get it.
you were
Nobody cares.
where you were losing. That's all.
No one cares.
Look, Brian.
Like if you just shifted it this way, now
No,
you
it's-
win the bet. If you
Yeah.
shift it maybe this way, you
Who
win the
gives
bet.
a shite, mate?
I'm just trying to help with his copium.
We're not moving goalposts.
I'm just trying to feed it to him.
If he didn't rifle off pocket eights in the main event, we'd be fucking previewing
That's
him
true.
right now.
That's true. That is true.
Very
You know?
true. Very true.
Disrespectful to the
Start
bet.
that kind of violence.
You know,
Yeah.
gotta.
Yeah.
I mean, I got B-roll, so I mean, I'll roll it whenever you want.
Oh God, I can't wait for that day.
God damn it!
That's so
It's
good.
the top 100, and we put lock and key on this thing. You know, fuck. All right. Well, we'll have our day to mourn the loss of the bet. Should that
Hey.
end up being the result?
Yeah,
I'm a probability guy. You know,
I am too.
You're drawn thin.
it is thin, but thin
But
to
not
win.
zero. It's a non-zero
Non-zero.
chance.
Non-zero.
Non-zero.
What do we think the likelihood of him making a final table in the next 3 days are?
Non-zero.
1%.
1%.
1 in 100.
Yeah,
Maybe a little more.
probably slightly higher.
Yeah.
Well, it depends how big these fields are, I guess.
We'll give you 2%.
Like 1 in
150.
like 1 in every 50 years.
All right, so we need the one out JBEX. One out JBEX with one to come.
We've done it before.
Yeah. It's happened to you.
We'll do it again.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully that again is now.
I got to tell you, I wish you were lucky. You know, it's like, oh, okay, throw your money behind someone who's good. It's like, yeah, that's all nice, that's great, but like, wouldn't you rather throw your money behind somebody who's lucky?
Better be
Yeah.
lucky than good.
Yeah,
That's the
you
whole
would.
better be lucky than good argument.
Honestly, the Seward versus Becker, that was the play.
Yes.
That was the play.
Mhm.
Seward bracelet winner.
Good and
Seward-
lucky. That's a combo.
Seward a bunch of cashes. He's done like sneakily very not sneakily very well, but like not just the bracelet win,
He had
but like
deep runs.
deep runs and other things.
Mhm.
What did he cash for this summer? Like 6.5?
Yeah, probably somewhere around there,
650?
something like this.
That would have been good for morale.
Good morale would have been high.
Morale would have been very high. Morale's still high.
Morale's still high. Morale's fine.
Morale's high for Texas Mike. This guy's a madman. He loses millions of dollars in the $1 million cash game. Comes out, grinds a full fucking series like a psychopath. How, like, I just don't get it.
People are built different, man.
He's a fucking beast, man. He's
just
that
don't-
dude.
I think he's just like, man, some people just like love it. Like,
does.
not for the money, for whatever it is, whatever is attached to that feeling of.
I'm pretty sure he was close to Player of the Year within the last couple of years, and I think that might have been an extra drive for him.
Man, God bless. Well, he's at 2 final tables. Well, he's at a final table today. He final tabled the final 3200 online event, which plays out live today, I believe, at 3 p.m., but it might be later. It might be 6 p.m. I'm not sure. And then he's second in chips with 10 remaining in the 25K horse, which is absurd because, number one, they're not the same disciplines. So one is no limit, the other one's not.
That's no
Number
limit.
two, I'm not sure that they're going to be played within close vicinity of one another.
They have to be. They both be played on the main stages.
Yeah.
In the Thunderdome.
No, they
What do you
should
mean?
be.
Are they though? 'Cause
Yeah.
that's where
Absolutely.
but that's where the main's taking place.
Doesn't matter.
Shit, I forgot the main too. Okay,
The main's on the main
it would be
stage,
on
and
the
then
outsides.
there's two outer tables.
There's more than that. There's
If
4
you
outer
need-
tables. There's 4 outer tables. There's 2 closest to like the security
Oh,
desk.
you're right. You're right. There are
There's
4.
2 closest to
Yeah.
the security desk, and then there's 2 right
Right.
outside the main stage. So they'll probably bring them. Actually, both of them.
And they had those
Closer to the security
last year.
desk.
They had those running for final tables while the main event final table was
Maybe.
going on. I
Okay.
believe. Yeah.
I just wonder how much of it. Yeah, maybe. I just know production with the final table of the main is priority.
Yeah.
Of course. Yeah.
So
I mean, they
would-
may be playing on it. It's not like the streams running or anything.
well,
It's just-
they're streaming the online one for sure.
they are
Yeah, it's on WSOP's YouTube channel.
WSOP's YouTube channel,
Correct.
not Poker
So
Go.
it would be
Correct.
on. It will probably be on the same table that Seiver won the Deuce to 7 on, which was the closest one to the
Perhaps.
security table.
Perhaps. Yeah.
High
I also
security
don't
over
know
there.
what the strategy would be if you're playing a big bet final table and a mixed game final table. Like, which one allows more to be blinded? You know what I mean?
I'm pretty sure they're pretty short in the 3200 online.
I
Probably.
doubt
But like, you
there's-
at least get free hands in the 3200.
Yeah,
Like, you have bring-ins and shit.
but I would probably the games that I'm weak in, I would probably miss those rounds.
Yeah.
For horse, like
There's no way they're gonna fuck this guy over, right?
I mean, what else can they do?
Yeah.
He chose to play both events.
That's nuts.
Is HRC able to run ICM sims for two final tables running at the exact same time, and where you should be and where you should not be?
No.
I mean, I don't know what his chip stack's like in the 3200, but if he's near the top, I guess he could just get a couple blind steals through and then sit out a few orbits.
I want to say I saw his post and it was like 22 big blinds he has, and I'm not exactly quite sure what that was.
Once an orbit, just open jam and then run away.
I think first in the online one is like 200K. First in the 25K horse is like 750-ish.
Imagine if he wins them both.
Be good.
I just don't see how that's possible.
He'd be even from the $1 million game.
If he can win one of them and then still be in the other one, he can win the other one.
I'm rooting for him.
But I mean, if he gets heads up in both of them at the same time, that's gonna be tough.
It seems like an odd schedule.
I don't think either of these things are possible.
Ironically, this kid has all the heart, and I'm rooting for him.
Well, unironically, he has all the heart. Maybe it is.
Apparently, he has a bad heart.
Yeah, he has a bad heart.
That's what we're getting at. He does not have all the heart.
He does not have
he does have all the heart.
He's actually he's literally missing some of the heart.
It's a total.
Well, shout out to Texas Mike. Get it done, B.
Man, I hope they stagger it somehow. Like if the restarts are at the same time, this is just you just kind of have to forfeit one, right? I mean, you do.
They're not far from each other.
It doesn't matter.
Look, he just has
no
to
strategy
wait.
of like.
He just has to wait till he gets blind on blind in no limit and just jam.
Man, that's really fucked for the one that he sits out, because with ICM being what it is, knowing somebody's just like blinding out, you kind of can't play.
Yeah.
You know,
you let the chip leader kind of ravage a little bit.
Yeah, so the chip leader just steals until this guy's out. Right? Because you can't possibly bust before somebody who's not there.
I could almost.
That's ICM suicide.
Yeah.
It's literally a hop away from each other, the two tables, and I understand what you're saying, but can guarantee you this kid's going to be playing both tables.
I'm sure he's going to try, but sure, you could better your positioning in both, but you could never win both.
Yeah.
So it's that's kind of the wouldn't you rather have the shot at winning one and then just finishing where you finish in the other?
I think in the no limit one, you just play your blinds and you play your button and the cutoff or whatever and
the hijack.
And then you the first three positions and you leave and then because you're just going to be folding a lot there anyways, so then you run over and play your hands at the other one and then come back. I guess I don't know.
If you get aces.
Then you'll never know because it's
no, you will know because it's going to be streamed.
Oh, that's right.
You just have to have a deck read on when you're going to get a bad hand.
Yeah, watch all the hands that you folded out that were good.
It is what it is. It's a good problem to have.
It really is.
No, it's not. It's a bad problem.
Sort of.
The EV in these tournaments are winning the tournament.
It's
not
a problem.
It's
okay,
right.
Good or bad.
Would you rather be in two final tables at the same time or none?
You're asking the wrong man.
Two final tables.
Oh, Christ.
I'll take one, though.
I'll take a cash.
You will not.
So let's catch up on all the things that have happened over the past week. It was a big weekend, obviously, with the main event coverage. I know you guys went a lot into the recap of that yesterday, talking about the Chrissy hand and the Tamayo folding of queens. But there were a lot of other events that were taking place, including the biggest 3K of all time, the Mid-Stakes Championship, which...
All time.
What exactly was the branding of this event? So they called it the Mid-Stakes Championship. Was this just meant to be the 3K is the... You know how they do a 10K championship for all disciplines at the World Series? Mm-hmm. Is this just the price point for No Limit? There's a 3K No Limit Hold'em championship? Is that what they were getting at here?
I guess so.
If so, what's the low stakes championship? The mystery bounty?
The 1K online.
Okay. Anyway, ended up being the biggest 3K of all time, over $1 million the first, which is madness.
There's never been a 3K where I feel like Florida had huge.
Holy shit!
They did.
Adam Owen got second.
They had a 3,500 that was $900K to first, but
well, maybe that doesn't count because it's at 3,500, not a 3K.
They've had 3,500. It's Florida, Bin Wang won the biggest tournament, one of the biggest in Florida at a 3,500, not a 3K.
Why does he say no whenever that's literally what we just said?
I'm saying 3,500 and 3Ks aren't the same. So it's
Right.
very clearly the 3K is
Yeah.
the bigger,
But
the biggest
it also-
3K buy-in.
It also didn't crack this prize pool. This prize pool was still bigger, I think.
That makes sense.
There's also not. I mean, this is not to take anything away from it, but they're like, how many like 3Ks are there? They're either 3,200 or 3,500, or in fact, they're nitpicking to like say exactly 3K.
Well, no,
I'll be
but
honest.
I'm saying that like I think it's bigger than any 3,500 that's ran also.
Okay.
I can't think of
Prize
a single.
pool.
There's no
Yeah.
WPT.
WPTs are huge, but
They used to get like 800 to first.
yeah, like
something
between
like
8 and 950.
Didn't that
something like
1K Prime have like $1 million to first?
Well, so that's the other thing is that there's a bunch of 1Ks that
They
like
get million. Yeah.
yeah, like the Colossus. Fuck, the Colossus was
500,000.
yeah, but it was like big enough prize pool where it could have been $1 million. Remember the first one? There was like big stink. That
Right.
Now in retrospect,
Yeah.
they actually did a great job with the
right,
payouts. But
exactly. But I mean, like the Millionaire Maker and the Monster are like $1 million to first every year.
yeah,
Over $1 million.
yeah. I mean, thing is like if they, I guess the big difference is that this was just a multi-flight 3-day event. Like I don't think it was a particularly great structure or anything. It was just your vanilla 3K that.
But since they attached the championship to it, that's what drew.
It was also multi-flight. If they did multi-flights, truthfully, and I mean, maybe this is crazy. Maybe this isn't what people want, but there's a lot of spots throughout the schedule where if they made it a multi-flight type of event rather than running a comparable event the next day, like, you know, they have like a 2,500 freeze out one day and then like a 1,500 re-entry the next day, something like that. Instead of having those two separate events, if they just ran a multi-flight of the one event, these prize pools would just balloon. But
they would, but it's
the prize pools were massive this year. All of them were up. So like seeing the 10K 6 max come to a conclusion today, or sorry, yesterday, that was 980K to first, I think.
Yeah.
Something along those lines. 2 years ago when I got 7th in, it was 740.
wow.
So that's a big jump over the course of
and they've
of 2 years.
they've actually dialed back how much they give the first too.
Yeah.
So like it's even bigger than.
So yeah, the payouts have changed a little bit.
Yeah, it's like the.
What'd you say? It was 2 years ago you played it?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm curious.
Like
to
if
see
you
what it
look,
was.
So dumb. I get 7th in it 2 years ago and I haven't played it since.
That's how I feel about the
so
Deuce to
dumb.
Seven.
What's the matter with
so
me?
I think the Colossus was almost exactly the same for first from last year than this year, but this year they got.
But
like,
the payout structure is different.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah,
Yeah.
They got like 3,000 more people or something,
Right.
or 3,000 more entries this year than it did last year, but first place is still the same.
Yeah.
So the prize pools are still
The
ballooning.
3K
and
that
first places are
the
staying
3K
same
that
a lot.
Seward won was almost 600,000 to first, right? It was like 5 and change.
550 or something.
I think that was up by like 15 or 20%. Like
Yeah.
across the board, fields have been much larger this year, which is funny because Derek Kwan was doing some like data analysis as to why there was a drop off this year. And I think that he was mostly using the I think he was I don't want to quote it because I don't recall the tweet well enough, but I think he was mostly using like the headline events, like the weekend events as the barometer. And I think that there was some fall off there. Like I don't think that the $1 million bounty one performed as well this year as it has in years past, or it was flat maybe. Same with like the Millie Maker.
See, I feel like these all got more than the year before.
Maybe I would have to go back and look for sure. But I remember when he put the tweet out, this was like 2 or 3 weeks ago, he put the tweet out and I was like, yeah, it does seem like everything is kind of down this year. And then like I started paying closer attention. It's like
The first place prizes are down.
So you want to hear something
Some,
crazy?
not all.
Not all, but I'm
Good.
saying
So for that 10K 6 max,
yeah.
when you in 2022, it was 3.674 in the prize pool.
Okay.
This year, it was 3.8.
Okay, so it's up a little bit.
Yeah, not too
Yeah.
much.
Yeah.
I was expecting a bigger increase than that.
Yeah.
When I looked
based
at
off the
numbers.
massive difference between first 2 years ago and now.
Yeah,
I would think so too. So
that's
yeah, maybe
pretty
it's only a marginal increase. Point is though is that tournament poker is definitely alive and thriving.
Yeah.
And also like there's more competition now than ever too, right? So like whenever you run the 3K multi-flight whatever in the middle of the week, it's being butt up against a 2K at the Win and a 1K at the Venetian or you know whatever the fuck they're running alongside of it, Aria.
People
Like
put in full summers and don't even walk into the WSOP.
yeah.
Like it's pretty sick.
Honestly, if Landon was ever to run this bet back, I would want it to be a solo property venture.
Or just WSOP. Probably.
Just strictly WSOP, like pick out all the no limit events and force them to play just in that venue, because like so much of this summer was spent running around him value hunting 1-day events and then late regging WSOP.
Yeah.
And it's like, I think it just takes away from the entirety of the experience, where it's like, no, like get there at like noon or 1, somewhere between first and second level, you know, really grind a good structured 3-day
just
event.
Count like 25K 6 max, count the 25K 8 max.
No, I mean, I could see where like, I could see where Becker wouldn't want to do that stuff, but like 10Ks and below,
I don't know, man.
no limit.
He was telling me that like this bet fucked his summer because he wanted to play the higher stake stuff, like the 25K 8 max, 25K 6 max, but they're not counting for the crossbook, so they're bad ideas.
Yeah, but they could have counted.
Yeah, we could have made them count.
We could have made exceptions. But yeah, I think the spirit of the bet was lost whenever I hear that you guys are fucking grinding the Arya 800 daily every single fucking day. It's like,
well, yeah,
as a backer, that's not what I signed up for.
Right.
As somebody betting on you, that's definitely not what I give a shit about.
The Arya 800, the Win 1100 Turbo, the Win 600 Turbo.
Yeah, like that became the bulk of everybody's volume.
It did.
And honestly, that plays very, very much into Becker's hands. Like that's exactly why you should bet on Becker, because like there isn't a ton of ROI to take from these turbos to begin with, and like this is what he does the majority of his time. Like what we really wanted to see were like day 3 sweats. There's no fucking day 3 sweat whenever you guys are playing turbos. A down bad 20-minute level Arya 800.
Could have had some in the Win 10K, but womp womp.
Yeah, but I mean, you know, those were few and far between. But anyway, I digress. A lot of bracelet winners we have to cover. The Mid-Stakes Championship was won by Clement Riches.
Riches?
It's spelled R-I-C-H-E-Z.
I don't care how it's pronounced. Pronounced Riches. That's
exactly.
One.
Exactly.
Shout out to David getting.
But yeah, we'll never get a French name correct. No. We're just always going to pronounce it phonetically.
Matt Hunt's losing his mind right now.
For sure. Adam Owen got second place in this one, coming to runner-up for $696,000.
What a legend.
Torelli got third for $517,000. Pretty fucking crazy, man. That's a big ass event for a 3K.
Well, it's also weird that first is $1 million and third is 500K. That seems off. It's like a huge jumps, right?
I mean, $1,700,000, 515.
Yeah, that's about right.
Top heavy. I mean, a lot of these events are top heavy.
It's always like half, like third place is usually.
What structures are you playing where it's like it's like a 5% increase from first to second?
Right.
It's not
Landon's like used to playing heads up for like 3 buy-ins. Like, what are we talking about?
No, I just mean like when you look at it's funny because you look at like new WSOP online structures, they're nice.
Okay.
Old WSOP structures.
Online's different.
Yeah, like GG final tables, like they're very like flat, like very like incremental, like reasonable. Like for drop down, where like it just seems like being first being so much is like wow, it's like you really got to win the tournament.
Yeah, but I mean it's only 10% of the prize pool. Like this is kind of industry standard.
Yeah.
I get that.
I don't think first whatever.
I get that. I was in there for 5.
Joseph Sanders won the $1,500 PLO event. It looks as though this was his first bracelet as well. Wait, yeah, the other one was a WPT. Love to see these PLO specialists come out of the blue. Bolden wins the 3K horse, which it looks like they went to an unscheduled day 4 there. And he was able to outlast John Racner heads up.
Wow. Racner had a couple.
Yeah. He had a good summer.
Couple heads ups, right?
He did.
Yeah.
Blaise beats Lonis heads up in the final 50K high roller for $2 million.
What a fucking goat. He just follows up what he says, man.
Him and Lonis. They're both goats.
He said he wanted to follow around fucking Ike and Chidwick. Guess what? He did.
Well, he went from buried on the summer to a winner. Pretty much in one fell swoop. So you love to see that. I think they chopped, if I remember correctly. They got like 1.6-ish each. Isai was actually at that final table. I got to play with his son. He came and splashed around a little bit in Bobby's room. It's kind of cool to get to talk to him about Isai's impact on the community and stuff like that, which we'll get into that discussion a little more as we go into the Hall of Fame noms. Rocco closed out the 10K yesterday, staving off the back-to-back attempts for who was it?
Alexandre Riard.
Oh my God. He gives me fucking nightmares.
Riard?
Yep. That's the guy that fucked me with 7 left in the 5K.
Okay.
And gives me nightmares. Every time I hear that name, I just cry.
Well, it sounds like he's very good at
He is
pokers.
very good.
So he got 6'10" finishing runner-up, but he actually won it last year, which is pretty crazy. I mean, this is an impossible event to win back-to-back. I mean, that's a real fucking testament to
He's
his
final
ability.
tabled a big event for the last 4 years straight.
It's pretty strong.
He's a goat.
Yeah, the French are having quite the summer.
Viva France.
Really, really showing up. But this is a big monkey off the back of Rocco. Obviously, the famous interview when he got third in the 25K earlier this summer?
Yeah.
Rocco the
50K.
farmer.
He is a farmer now. Apparently, he's taking a hiatus. He's bought a farm, and he's just going to do the Lord's work.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
He was saying
Sure, it's
that
not yield farming.
this, yeah, imagine buying a real farm to start yield farming.
Does this guy look like a yield farmer to you? No, he's fucking baling hay and shucking corn.
Yep.
You know? I might join him.
Ask him.
I might get a farm. I'd do well on a farm.
Yep.
Yeah, that's Farmer Rocco moving forward.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was like, I just studied for 6 hours every day, waking up at 4 a.m.
God
I
bless.
gotta tell you, he looks more like a yield farmer than an actual farmer.
It's the glasses.
Yeah, don't let them confuse you. He's out there slinging it.
Yep.
He doesn't confuse anyone with that.
So two events are going to play out today. The Hall of Fame 1979 event is going to play down to a winner today. Looks like
Go Hendricks.
Adam Hendricks is at that final table.
Stam chip
Martin
leader.
Finger, man, I haven't heard him in a long time.
The
Winner.
fucking goat is chip leading.
Who's the GOAT?
The fucking
David
goat.
Stam. Let's
My
go.
fucking dude. Let's go, Stam.
Let's go Stam.
Fucking love Stam. He's
Big
the best.
Stam
Man.
enjoyers.
He's put
Big
together
Stam
quite the
enjoys.
summer himself.
Yeah, we should have bet on him versus Becker.
I mean, to be fair,
Hey,
There's a lot of people we could have picked besides you.
Yeah. About 100 of them, actually.
shit. Oh, shit. So that one's going to play down, and then the final 10 remain in the 25K horse today, which does include one Scott Seiver. He's short, but there are 10 remaining. Field's tough. Ivy is remaining. Seiver is
Imagine
still
if
in
he
there.
gets a fourth.
I mean, I don't think he needs a fourth bracelet.
Yeah.
He almost did. He got third in the 10K online event
Oh, that's right.
2 days ago.
Yeah.
absolute.
Which was won by Dan Moore, his second big win of the summer.
That'll go as his biggest online. Will count for the player of the year.
Yeah, I assume so. So it looks like there are 10 remaining. Seiver's 9th in chips. David Benjamin is 3rd in chips. Phil Ivey 7th. Looks like the chip leader is Albert Dar, a legend of the game. You guys don't even know about the Dubai Prince. He's a goat.
Everyone's a goat.
Every time he walks into every time he walks into Bobby's room, I'm obviously buried, and I just go, "Yes, thank you, get me unstuck, please."
And then you probably get too outed.
No. I haven't really got to play with him much this year, but he's a lot of action. I'm gonna go to Dubai and visit him.
They probably have some pretty juicy cash games over there.
He thinks I'm his whale. I think he's my whale. So
Perfect.
it's a perfect relationship. Symbiotic.
Relationship.
That's right. Sweating from the sidelines as this 25K plays out is Jeremy Ausmus, who is 2nd in the Player of the Year race right now. He still has a chance to overtake Scott somehow, some way, with 2 remaining live events and 2 remaining online events. Today is the Summer Saver online. And then the 21st, I think, is that Saturday or Sunday, maybe?
Yes.
There's one final event. I guess it's the online closer or something along those lines. So to the best of my knowledge, Jeremy doesn't have a big score online yet. So winning either one of those would count as his biggest online. I'm not sure if it would be enough to overtake him, but I think it would be relatively close. Right now,
Obviously, it depends on where Scott finishes today.
Scott's up by like 400 points.
He's up by just shy of 400 right now, but he's coming into another final table. So assume he's going to be up by a minimum of 600, depending on where
And if he
finishes.
wins
If
it,
he
I'm
wins,
sure
it's
just
probably
over.
over.
If he wins it, it's probably over.
Ausmus would have to win 2 of the last 4.
That'd be insane.
Well,
I mean,
crazier
it's
things have
Ausmus.
happened.
It's fucking Ausmus.
Ausmus did tie Phil Hellmuth's single series WSOP final table record, which I am shocked that this record wasn't shattered. I assumed that.
How many?
It looks like
7.
7, is that right?
Either 6 or 7, I think.
Wow.
Let's see. Well, the fucking lead-ins in these articles, they write 3 paragraphs teasing it, and at no point tell you. Okay, here it is. He has he made the final table with the 3K horse,
Span table.
the 10K deuce to 7, the 50K PPC,
Looks like 7.
250K high roller, 100K high roller, 2500 no limit freeze out, and the 1500 shootout. So 7 final tables this year.
A lot.
No wins, which is hard.
That's not a lot.
It's pretty hard to do, actually. He has a 7th, a 4th, a 6th, a 7th, a 2nd, a 3rd, a 4th. Hi-ya.
Pretty sick.
And still has
summer.
technically 4 events left to play, so I'm sure he's playing the closer today. Unless there are mixed events left. I thought I saw Chance say something about playing a 3K PLO.
That was today.
Okay, so...
Or yesterday, I'm sorry.
Oh, okay. So maybe Ausmus put chips in the bag in that. Maybe he didn't. Not sure.
Basically impossible for him to win the closer and the turbo because tomorrow,
of course,
the turbo starts,
but
and
he can
he'll
play
be in day 2.
But he can play the closer and the 2 online events still.
Correct.
And I guess like depending if Chance bag chips in the PLO or not, he still has a sweat at Player of the Year as well. I think that those are probably the only 3. Landon was saying that Rocco moved up the ranks. He probably did, but they haven't updated yet, so I'm not sure. Currently, he's 13th.
How many points does he have?
He had 2,600 going into yesterday. I don't know what that win is worth.
It should say.
I can find out right now.
Yeah, it'll say on the results.
On the results of the 10K.
I think so.
It does.
Yeah.
It says it in the payouts. Give me 1 second.
Okay.
Go.
Well, there you go. So yeah, maybe he has a sweat, but he probably doesn't give a shit. He's about to go
he
farm.
has 4,000 points. Or
No.
2,600, you said?
Yeah.
So he has 3,800 points.
Okay, so he's 200 behind Seiver.
Yeah, he got 1,200 points. 12 for
so
this.
winning, obviously,
Wow.
winning the events. You
But
get a lot of
Seiver's
points.
putting more points up today.
Yeah.
Like, let's not forget that.
Yes.
So yeah, this is going to come down to the wire. Correct me if I'm wrong, there's no fall series counting for player. Like it ends. It ends in 2 days.
It should.
Or I guess it ends this week.
I don't know if it does, but it should.
I know in the past it hasn't. I don't know if they changed that for this year. I'm not sure about that.
WSOP Europe?
Yeah.
No idea.
Yeah, I mean, they haven't announced anything. So I'm not sure if there even is a WSOP Europe, especially because Leon just sold Kings. So I'm not sure what the deal with that partnership is. I guess we can find out, though. But I believe... Man, I'm just looking at the prizes for winning player of the year.
Right,
It's so insane.
So it actually ends July 17th.
Yeah, that's the final.
Yep.
Oh, wait, 17th?
Yep.
No, there's a online bracelet event after.
Says it runs from May 28th to July 17th. So
Okay.
the Sunday bracelet event does not count.
So I guess only tomorrow's bracelet event counts. Interesting. Well, they're vying for very noble prizes. They get a free seat to the main event next year.
10K.
By they, I mean whoever wins this.
Yeah.
A unique trophy.
Ooh.
Unique trophies. Nice.
Mm-hmm. Maybe phallic shaped.
Maybe. Nobody else is going to have one. It's unique.
It's true.
That's right. And then a player of the year banner at the Paris/Worship.
That's what they're really
I mean, that's honestly, that's the prize.
Just have your face up there.
Name
You guys have to
etched
look.
in history.
You guys have to look
Yeah,
at
I
my
mean,
face every year.
Oh, man.
That's a
It
beautiful
would motivate me.
thing.
To
Gotta
get a
get you in
job.
those mixed streets.
I don't know.
Yeah.
No?
I don't get it.
I think
You
it'd be
don't
kind
want
of
your face
a...
up
It's kind of interesting that Rocco's so close to only being a no limit player.
Yeah.
I mean, he got third in the 25K. He probably had some other cashes.
Seems like that overly weights the high rollers, if that's true. I mean, obviously he had a bunch of cashes, but I saw somebody, was it Jason Wheeler, has like 21 cashes this summer?
Yeah, he's crushing the cash
It's
game.
insane.
I know they
Crushing
changed
cashes game.
the points criteria a little bit this year. Like, it would be funny. Well, not for Seiver, but it would be funny if Seiver wins 3 bracelets but doesn't win the player of the year.
Well, that's
There'll be
kinda what
another uproar of like, oh, we got to change the point structure because this guy won 3 bracelets and didn't win.
That's kind of the point I'm making is like,
Yeah.
sure, he's still leading, but Ausmus, who has 7 final tables, isn't even in second.
Who's
And
in second?
Rocco now.
Oh, Rocco. Oh, Rocco's now in second. Wow.
I mean, I assume so if Conrad's correct about adding the points up. And if that's true, to my knowledge, Rocco has 2, maybe 3 final tables.
He has at least 3.
Does he have at least 3?
Yeah, maybe 4.
No, he definitely does not have 4. I'm not even confident he has 3.
He definitely has 3.
Well, he has the high roller final table.
He had 2 before this. Didn't he have 2 like?
I know he had the high roller final table. I only remember the exit interview from that, but I do think he ran deep in something else.
Yeah, Rocco's had some runs.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's more than 2.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And a win, which is the win is so big, right? Like you get like.
Well, I don't know. Seiver won 3.
Seiver won 3. You'd think they're pretty
The
big.
win's not that big.
The thing is, I think that.
Oh, it's like is it the dollar amount of the win?
It's the dollar amount, and also it's the field size for the player.
Because Seiver won the 1,500 Raz, but that's like a small tournament.
Right.
Yeah.
All right, so let's see.
If you win a field of 100 people or 200 people.
Yeah, but the 25K high roller is like 250-ish, maybe a little bit
All right,
less.
Rocco's had a pretty fucking good summer.
Go on.
He has, let's see, he got 3rd in the 25K. He got 7th in the 10K Big O. He got 3rd in the 10K Super Bounty.
There you go. 4.
He got 8th in the 10K Evan card stud, high-low. He got 9th in the 50.
So he does play mixed games.
He got 9th in the 50K, and then he just won this.
So he has 6 final tables?
No, the stud's 7-handed.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So, still.
So he's had a pretty fucking good summer.
Yeah, I didn't realize he played mixed.
Yeah.
Yeah, mixed game guy. Here and there.
So I mean, you put all those finishes together with a big win now. That's why he's second. That tracks.
He'll probably just win the fucking closer, man.
Should we just not even play?
Yeah, I gotta play.
Take second.
Yeah.
One of you 2 idiots better fucking win it.
Don't worry.
That's for goddamn sure.
It'll happen.
Yeah.
I'll let him win. I'll take second.
Well, in any event, it looks like this player of the year is going to come down to the wire. I'm not sure if Rocco's going to put anything else in.
It is kind of nuts, right? Like points wise this year versus other years, like the amount of people that have a ton of points is like much higher.
Well, it's just much closer. But yeah, I mean, we've seen career years here out of multiple people. I mean, granted they're playing smaller field events, but Jeremy having 7 final tables, sounds like Rocco has like 4 or 5. Seiver might, if he final tables this horse, he might also have 7. Right? Because I can think of 5 off the top of my head right now.
I'm looking at it right now. Hold on.
He has 3 bracelets. He got 3rd in the 10K. He got 2nd or 3rd in another mixed event. So that's at least 5 right there.
Yeah.
4. He has 4 of them.
4 final tables?
He has
including this one?
He has the 10K online. He has the 10K deuce to 7. He has
his 3 wins.
1,500 Raz and the 10K high-low.
So he won all of those.
Yeah.
He has no other final table finish.
No.
I thought for sure he had another deep run. Okay, so he has 4 already, and this might be his 5th. Rocco has somewhere between 4 and 6. Jeremy has 7. I mean, granted, we're counting online, which those fields are smaller. The 10K, the 10K one that Seiver just final table, I think was like 130 people.
Smaller but tougher.
I'm really curious to see what this Raz final table gave him in points. I'm trying to look that up.
But yeah, I mean, I think with the amount of volume people can get in and the ability to play multiple games well, like Jeremy, you're just going to see a lot of records fall. Like you have to, right?
Yeah, of course. Records are meant to be broken.
I mean, imagine if Mercier was willing to put in the volume that he was 10 years ago, right? It's he's just able to play a lot more events now. Like even the mixed game schedule, I assume, is expanded because there's so many more 1,500 events than there have been in the past.
Yeah.
So you could probably just play you could just choose.
There was a PLO bounty event.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Bounty
you can
event
kind of choose your discipline and I think I heard somebody say even PLO MTT players were able to get in 30 events this summer.
Yeah, there was a bunch
which is way more volume than they've ever gotten in.
Greg played a lot, and he said all these fields were huge too. He said he said it was PLO this year was bigger than he's ever seen.
Yeah.
And every property ran a little PLO series, and like you could even I think Aria even had a high stakes series. Like,
Right.
The PLO was popping this summer.
Love to see it for the 4-card players.
It'll be interesting to see how this impacts like the 25K fantasy draft moving forward, how it impacts the player of the year. Because I mean, in the past, like this was just all for the mixed game guys. You know, like we get the glory of being able to play events year round, playing the WPTs and. You know, all that other nonsense and the big fields and the money that comes attached to it, where they get the accolades for just being the best in a pool of a couple hundred people. But it's changing now, especially with the high rollers. The high rollers really, really, really skew the value of the no limit hold'em player.
Yeah.
You know, you're able to go out and get a guy like Ike for like $6. Like that's a pretty good fucking buy if he's going to play everything 25K and above.
Yeah.
Including like the mixed game and PLOs.
So it seems like all wins give you at least 900 points.
That makes sense.
So Scott had got 962 for the 1500 Raz.
Okay. So it's like bare minimum, no field bonus, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
All right. Well, getting into a final point before we preview this final table, somebody who's also very good at all the games, but doesn't really play many, if any, WSOP events, I imagine tax reasons. Patrick Antonius, well-deserved induction into the Poker Hall of Fame. Again, I think this was a no-brainer.
He's played like very little, if not no, WSOP events.
Very
right?
little to none, which is probably.
I'm pretty sure it's because of taxes.
Yeah, I think it is too. Find out how old he is. I think he's 42. I think he's my age, but he might be 44. But I would imagine that is what delayed his induction a little bit, because like he's a first ballot guy. There's just no way.
44.
Yeah. Okay. So like it's 4 years
How do
too
you
late.
get 44 and I get 43?
Yeah, it's just
he's about
43 on my end, but
He's
yeah,
about to
whatever.
be 44.
Okay, so Conrad rounds up.
No, I just did it by the age. I didn't read it. I just 1980.
Yeah, fair.
80.
But like, you know, that probably had something to do with delaying his entry, because most of, I think, the accolades that come along with the quote unquote Hall of Famer is what's your WSOP resume? How many bracelets do you have? Do you play the biggest buy-in type of stuff? And I think that's a big argument for a guy like Mattisau, who is on the outside looking in and is probably just never going to get in at this point, because there's going to be such a big wave of online generation that are about to be turning 40. I mean, like, look, we're 2 years away from Galfon being a first ballot guy. We're 1 year away from Seiver and Schulman both being on the ballot, and only one can get in. You know, it's like
Ausmus is still out.
Yeah, Ausmus is on the outside looking in, and this is just going to continue to
The problem
to
will
flower.
snowball.
We just got to keep yelling.
In 5 years, you're going to have 100 guys minimum
that need to be in there.
Yeah, and I'm counting like the past guys too, like Esai and Savage, that are just like basically drawing dead at this point.
I think they'll change it eventually. I think eventually they'll just be like, listen, there's too many people that deserve it, and they just need to expand how many people get in per year, and then they'll, the right people will eventually.
You think they'll just class it like 5 per year or something?
I think that would be the right thing to do.
It made sense before to have just one. I mean, because it was just like
for the longest time it was actually 2.
It was 2.
Oh, that's right. It was 2. Yeah.
And then they moved it down.
That is weird that they moved it down.
For some reason, they moved it down to 1.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Yeah.
Yeah, and they kind of did it at a time where it was more than ever.
3.
They went the opposite way. Next, they're just going to go 0 and close the Hall of Fame. You're like, you guys are too
That's
good.
it, yeah.
Like,
I
too
would
many
be
of
okay
you,
with that too.
No more Hall of Fame.
Bill Smith, and then the rest of you guys are done.
Honestly,
Miami John?
I would kind of be okay with that, because I think that I think it's difficult to be an outlier past the moneymaker boomish era. You know what I mean? Like we talk about this a lot, but like I think it's really difficult for Daniel's generation to pass the torch. And so like that next generation that hasn't had the torch passed to it, the Galfons, the Ikes, the Bonimos, et cetera, there is much of the elite whenever it comes to no limit hold'em and even the other games as well, as anybody in generations past. But there's a big difference. Like there's a huge divide with what was available to Daniel's generation compared to ours. And since they were so handcuffed with a lack of technology, and the game was just so barbaric by comparison, and it rapidly changed. It changed so fast with the advent of online and then solvers thereafter. I'm I would be totally fine hard cutting it with you have to have played poker pre-2003.
Really?
Jesus.
I would be fine with that.
What do you mean?
The game changes.
Game changes. It
Yeah.
evolves.
Right,
It's
but
like
baseball's changed over the years too. You're not going to just stop putting people in the Baseball Hall of Fame.
But the point is, no, but there's a difference because MLB is on display for what it is. Like you can judge every single at bat. You can judge every single pitch thrown. Poker post boom is very, very different. You have the online world, the live world. And prior to that, everything was siloed into the live community that was like a few hundred people, and it was very easy to judge who was elite. But now things are splintered between like online public, online private, live public, live private, MTTs, cash, televised, non-televised. You know what I mean?
The private stuff is going to be tough, right? If you're a killer cash game player in the private games, it's
never going to happen.
You're never. Yeah, it's almost too impossible. But like when it comes online, I mean, you can just go and look at people's online results. It's like,
but it doesn't mean
900
anything.
should be, maybe in the Hall of Fame.
Lena's an easy one to pluck though. But for every one of him, there are 100 others that are winning like 7.5 big blinds per 100 at 25.50.
All I know is after the steroid era, nobody should be allowed in the Baseball Hall of Fame.
I mean, if they were still doing steroids, I would agree with you. So it's fine. If you want to do a hard cut of pre-steroids, fine.
Yeah.
But
this is why it's only a couple people every year, because I mean, you can look at the people that are in their 30s now probably and be like, this person's a Hall of Famer. Right, this person's a Hall of Famer. And it's like,
well, we said that about Durr at 26, and now I think it's like very questionable. But you can't deny the impact Durr had, but also we don't have. This is what I'm talking about. We have no framework.
Right, but they do that in sports too. When someone comes out like a killer for their first few years, like this person's definitely going in the Hall of Fame, and then their career just kind of sputters out.
But we don't know. That's the point. We don't know that Durr's career sputtered out. That's my whole. That's my whole point. Is we have no vision over the last 10 years of Durr's career.
To be fair, we
can't see anything.
To be fair, we do know that Durr had more of an impact probably than anybody. Period.
Yeah, but that's what I said. That's why I said that. Like if you're a killer in private cash games, you just don't have a chance at all because we can't measure it. If you can't measure it, then you just can't get in.
So you think killers in public cash games can get in?
It'd be easier, but not as easy. Like it would.
There's no shot.
I think it would be easier than private, but still very, very hard.
Name me the best public cash game player.
It's going to be. I'm agreeing with you. I'm saying it's not as hard as private, but still hard.
I mean, 0 is 0, right?
Yeah, like I can't name you. I can't name you one.
Matt Berkey.
I don't play public games. And I'm definitely not going to get in the Hall. I'm drawing
You're
Stone
more in the
Dead.
Hall for an industry person than a poker player.
I'm drawing Stone Dead, and I'll whatever. Hopefully, I'll be Robo by the time it's all said and done.
I was going to say, quite honestly, if Robo's not in there, nobody's getting in.
Right, but like Robo had a public resume all the way through to like 2014.
Prior to the cash.
Are there any cash game players in the Hall of Fame? Strictly cash game
Somebody
players?
said David Oppenheim.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you can't say strictly, but like Chip Reese was a cash game player, not a tournament player. He had tournament accolades.
He was like one of the boys, though.
But I mean, like, he was thought to be the best cash game player in the world.
Yeah, but Doyle Brunson was also considered a cash game player, but he was also a very, very good tournament player. He had 10 bracelets, and he won the main event twice. And like,
you're comparing apples to oranges.
Why can't fruit be compared?
Chip Reese.
They voted.
Why can't fruit be compared?
Yeah.
Chip Reese does not have 10 bracelets. Like, he doesn't have a big WSOP resume.
He won the Player of the Year championship.
He won the PPC once.
Yeah.
He won the first one, actually.
Yeah.
But like, legendary.
So what? I have 9 final tables in the World Series. Who cares?
Yeah, but like at the time, also it was like it was more of a like a small knit group, and everyone knew who now it's so spread out.
Point.
It's so spread out.
Yeah, that's my point.
Yeah.
Let me ask you a question.
Opie's another good example. He strictly plays cash.
Right. So I think moving forward, it's like if you want to get into the Hall of Fame, you either do it through like the industry where you're
let me ask you this: if Lena doesn't win this main event final table, do you think he has any shot at the Hall of Fame?
No, because the people that are in charge don't look at these.
If he didn't make this, if he didn't make this final table, but he ends up winning 150 million in his career online, do you think he has any shot?
The people that are in charge of putting these people in the Hall of Fame don't even know who Lena 900 is.
Totally agree.
Right, but like if you're looking like right now, yes, no, but like if you're looking in 10, 15, 20 years.
Bro, he's in his early 30s.
He's been playing for 10, 15, 20 years.
When he's 50, maybe he can get in because now the landscape of the game is different.
Listen, the man is a first ballot Hall of Fame, and it's not even close.
Who is?
Lena.
Okay.
It's not even close.
Do you think Mormon will get in?
Maybe.
I think he's dead. He's stone dead unless he starts winning WSOP bracelets and WPT championships.
Yeah.
If you'd have won WPT 10K, maybe it would have been in there.
No, he needs to do it multiple times.
You think?
Yeah.
And more WSOP based because it's the WSOP Hall of Fame.
I mean,
but we know that. We know what the Hall of Fame is. The Hall of Fame is for like people who win live tournaments. But if you're a player,
the reason why I'm saying I think it should be cut off by people who have no experience pre-moneymaker is because moving forward, outside of massive outliers, which are just strictly going to be people who play now what we call the PGT, the Poker Go Tour, or Tritons, outside of that tiny little collection, you're not going to be able to cherry pick a single name out of my generation or the generation that followed, Landon's generation, because none of it's going to matter. Multiple bracelet winners from Landon's generation, like, you know, Brock Wilson goes on to win 6 bracelets. No one's going to give a shit because he's going to be one of many.
You know what they could do? See, there's so many different things you can do with the Hall of Fame, right? Like, I mean, if you look, like, and I always look to like sports and how they do things, right? Maybe so like I think raising the age limit should be.
I think that's a no-brainer.
It should be at least like 50, maybe minimum, and then you can expand it out to like maybe 4 or 5 people getting in, but it's each section, right? So like, you know how people get in as a coach, people get in as a broadcaster, people get in as a player. Well, you can maybe have like an online player, like who's like someone who's a strictly or majority an online player.
We don't even do this for the we don't even do this for the
a player gets in, an industry person gets in.
You're trying to do this for the Hall of Fame. We don't even do this for the GPI awards.
It's true.
I know, but I'm saying that this is the path forward to getting the right representation in the Hall.
I have a question. So we look at the PPC as like one of the most prestigious tournaments for poker, correct?
Sure.
All right. Mizrachi won it 3 times.
Yeah.
What's his chances?
High.
Okay. But
if you compare him as a poker player to the people that have no shot, he's inferior in every single capacity.
Yeah. Okay.
And that's the point. Like,
Bill Zarian's the winningest player of all time. Does he have a shot?
No. But like Conrad's point is very valid. Like, so much of even having a remote chance at getting in is not necessarily dominating over the span of many decades. It's just being around over the span of many decades and building a massive brand.
Yeah.
So like Polk has an outside shot because he's built a massive brand for himself. But if you look at his career,
he also has bracelets for what's worth.
Yeah, he does. He has 2, I think, or maybe 3.
Tag team, 3. Sorry.
But more importantly, like if you look at his career, he competed at the highest levels for, you know, a portion of it. But when it's all said and done, like when he's 50, and his career spans, 35 years.
He'll be known as a casino owner.
Right. I mean, he's not wrong. It's not a joke. There's going to be like,
just funny.
There's going to be like an 8 to 10 year window where he was a heavily competitive poker player. There's going to be like a 5-year window where he was a content creator. And then there's going to be like a 15-year window where he's an operator. And that resume,
the trifecta, he's done it all.
Right. That resume put together may earn him a slot. Like it almost certainly should.
Yeah.
But the point is that it's not strictly merit based any longer, right? You don't just cherry pick the most dominant players because, one, it's difficult to dominate for long periods of time. Like, Doug was the best heads-up player in the world at one point in time, but there's no incentive for him to be the best heads-up player in the world indefinitely.
In perpetuity.
Right, so the fall-off is very quick, right? We see the turnover at the top of heads-up players.
Or just people in general, like 6 max cash, like...
Because the formats die, right? Like, heads-up became, like, very competitive and almost a dying game. Like, nobody would play each other. There wasn't a lot going on. There's no incentive because nobody's making any money. Same thing with dinosaur version of 6 max, where it's just 2 blinds, no ante. right? Like eventually people figure it out and then the game just dies off. There isn't enough money being pushed into it. What doesn't die off though is low stakes MTTs, mid stakes MTTs.
Right.
So like a guy like Darren Elias or Alti have way better shots at getting into the hall than a guy like Lena.
Yeah, or like Barack Wisbrod, who just like plays super high stakes.
Yeah, he plays 100K heads up, no limit.
I mean, that's kind of a joke. That actually is a joke.
It's not necessarily a joke. They're all
just
the best
sense.
at what they do. It's just Alti and Darren pick the thing to be best at that people care about.
It's so much easier to put a face to the name when you're playing live.
Right.
You know, like
and also like it's covered. That was my bigger point. That's why I said like the qualifier is if your career started prior to 2003, because the way media coverage works, it's the same as it was in 2003. It's still only focused on live broadcast events and MTTs that are played in person.
That's why people say if you want glory, play MTTs. If you want money, play cash.
True.
You know, you don't get in the hall by playing cash.
It's true. I think it's very unlikely more than a handful of cash players moving forward will ever make the hall. Robo is like one of the last of a dying breed. Durr might fit that category. But even a guy like Rast is going to... He got in based off of his MTT pedigree.
Yeah,
you know
is he even
I mean?
a cash guy?
Yeah. He's excellent. He played the big bet mix game in Bobby's room for years.
Right. That's what I'm saying. I didn't know any of this stuff. I just knew he was really good at tournaments and good at poker.
If he didn't play tournaments, Rast would not be in the Hall of Fame.
I think
and
so too.
He's, you know, an
if he
elite,
didn't win the 50K,
no, that's not true.
I mean, he'd
It
be
just-
on the,
it
he'd
helped
just
in the
be on the
moment.
list.
He won it 3 times?
He would just be on the list.
No. Yeah.
Uh,
He won it 3 times, right?
yeah, 3
If
times.
he didn't win it last year, he would just be on the list
I
for
don't
the
think
next
that's
couple
true.
of years.
I don't think that's true. I think he was the pick last year.
Okay.
I was very
Regardless
confident.
of the win.
Yeah, I was very
win
confident in that the same way
Definitely
that...
solidified it.
For sure. I think the last 3 years, it's been so predictable who was getting in. It was very obvious it was going to be Antonius this year. Very obvious to me Rast last year. And very obvious with his passing that it was going to be Lane Flack the year prior.
Yeah.
And I think Lane is a perfect example. Like, he does not have a Hall of Fame resume. If you put his against Mikey's and you remove the names, you'd almost certainly take Mikey over him. It's probably not even close.
Yeah.
You know, a guy like Mattisau gets punished for not still being dominant in his 3rd decade of play. And that will just, that's the other issue, is that if you don't get in at that minimum criteria of when you turn 40, when you're at your peak,
Yeah.
You're wrecked.
you start to fall off, and it's like now all of a sudden you get judged by recency bias,
Right.
And it's like, well, Mattisau's not dominant. He couldn't deal with the transition. REA is going to suffer for the miss too. I mean, it's actually working in REA's favor where he's nominated because of recency bias. He's actually like reemerged his career,
right.
but he's still relatively young.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
wants some
10
things.
years from now, he's probably not going to give much of a shit.
He'll be known as the steak,
About poker.
like steak guy, like poker steak guy.
That's true. Could be
Operator.
true. That's the key.
Like that's your shift. You got to play poker really well, and then you got to become an operator of some sort.
Yeah.
Own a casino, own a staking website, own a backing deal, do something, and then maybe you'll get in the
But
hall.
you have to be elite at both. Like a guy like Isai, who may have the biggest hand in changing this landscape as a whole, probably dead to get into the hall, right?
That's
and
nuts.
that's
Not when he wins the main event next year.
I guess that's the issue, right? Is like when you take a
Imagine.
step back and you ask what the Hall of Fame is all about. It, especially in our industry that's grown from infancy to toddler, let's say at this phase, it's the people who had the heaviest hand in that shift. And Isai is like one of the most obvious, but we don't acknowledge that by putting him in.
Is it because of like who he was as an operator, like for other things?
No,
And,
I think it's that he's competing against people who are fucking elite at the game.
like playing poker. You're saying from a poker sense, not from like an outside of poker sense.
I'm just saying from a sense of if they have to pick one person, like you can't say no to Antonius. I
I
So
mean,
it's
like Isai is
how does
not,
Isai get in?
Is Isai from poker playing or poker operating? It's from operating.
Yeah, he doesn't play. He just plays for fun.
Yeah, he's always operating. But where I was going with this was like it's hard to put a name to like the face of an operator to some degree.
Sure. Yeah. But I mean,
Like someone's
it's not
accolades in poker is gonna be more prevalent than someone's.
it's not the public that's voting.
Who is it?
It's a panel, and they all
Are you on it?
no, but like they're all very well aware of Isai.
But it's like picking him over someone else that's done things in poker feels odd.
I don't know what it feels like. It's just like very difficult, right? Like you see Antonius on the ballot, and it's just like, how am I going to say no to this guy? It's like, well, I don't know. There's the guy who fucking rescued us post Black Friday.
And you put it that way.
But like with every year that passes, that's
That guy's still gonna be on the list.
yeah. It's
like,
just kind of in the past.
And then how do they say no to
Comes
Seiver, who just like did all of these things very recently, or
Right,
and also just
poor
had a
Shulman.
career.
I mean, poor Shulman. It's like he's a no-brainer first ballot guy,
Who won a bracelet this year, by the way.
Yeah.
which is just totally lost in all of this.
Right.
You know, it's like
Everyone's just doing too much. Everyone's just Nick's
You
won a
have to.
bracelet for like the past couple years.
You have to.
I swear it has to be 2, at the minimum 2 next year. Like they're just gonna see Seiver and Shulman and be like, all
Put them
right.
both in.
Like
Maybe.
there's this honestly,
Yeah.
they're both first ballots. Like you
why?
just can't
Why
say
make
no.
it difficult on yourself? You
They
can
might
make it
as well-
easy on yourself.
Honestly, they might as well open it up for next year
Yeah.
for like 2 players, 1 operator, and 1 what do you call that?
Industry
Online guy.
person.
Industry.
That's what I said.
Or online, whatever. 1 online guy, it's fine too.
Well, the current panel could never
No.
pick online people.
Yeah, they don't. Yeah, you just can't,
They're just-
right? There's
they're
too many
just not
people to pick.
educated.
They just don't.
They're also just like not educated on it.
Well, I mean, you know what it really
And like people would be mad. Honestly, like the public would not be happy.
It's like even for like Lena, it's like who is this
Exactly.
guy? You
Yeah,
know,
yeah, yeah.
The only,
it's the
like,
goddamn goat.
yeah, but the only people that know that are people that know online poker in the first place. But the majority doesn't give a shit about online
All right,
poker
so-
because they can't even play.
All right, maybe that's true, but once you put his picture and his little resume underneath it, it's gonna be a no-brainer.
And it's like, online's cheated anyways.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think a lot of this is similar to other industries where it's like the media has such a heavy hand in how this all works that they should probably be a big part of
The
the
media
panel.
cares about live poker tournaments.
Yeah, I mean that's true. It's just like they'll look at Lane and be like, well, I mean, of course he has that many results. He plays 10 tables. 10
No,
tournaments
that's
at once.
that's not entirely true. If the media was actually involved in the voting, there are a lot of people who have done articles on Lena.
I'm not saying the media. I'm
saying that the media should be. In every other industry, they have a heavy hand in who goes, or at least who's nominated to the Hall of Fame, because they're the ones covering them day in and day out.
Like, there's a lot
I
of guys
agree
that
with
are
the
like
media.
legends that don't play in the U.S., but they'll never get in the Hall because no one knows who they are. They're just online screen names. It's like, oh, the online Hall of Fame. Like, it's that guy. It's like, I don't know who that guy is.
That's true.
Even though that guy is like, call it 50 million plus in earnings.
Antonius might be like one of one that I can name that is not from the United States that got in.
Doesn't play tournaments.
Well,
Rarely.
Yeah, but not WSOP ones.
Yeah.
I mean, there are others that are like nominated. But
You know what's crazy to me that just hit me? It's like, wait, so Antonius doesn't play tournaments because of tax reasons. Well, he's just got a, citizenship in the UK.
I don't know. Maybe he doesn't want to fucking move, man.
I mean,
he has a daughter
jeez.
and like.
He's got a life.
A
It's
life?
not
I mean,
poker.
you can, make something up. You don't have to move. You can figure something out.
all right.
Go be a
Yeah,
citizen.
tax evasion.
Yeah.
Just do that, Antonio.
Listen, everybody.
Antonius.
You know.
Another stunning segment from our hood lawyer. All right, let's get to the preview of tonight's final table. Really excited to get down to business and watch this one. So today they're going to play from 9 to 3, I believe. And then the final day is tomorrow where it plays down. So I think the short stack coming in has, what did they end at? 800K? Is that right?
Yes.
Yeah. So I think 18 big blinds is the shortest stack. And I think they're going to come back to 10K or 1 million is my point. So chip leader has about 150 big blinds, 143 big blinds. Short stack has 18. So we should see this have a little bit of action pretty quickly because the payouts are so flat until you get down to like the final 4-ish. And then it's super top heavy. Our chip leader coming in is Jordan Griff from the United States, 143,700,000 chips. He's from Illinois. He is, a rank amateur by all accounts. Was he the one who made the quad fives versus flows? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So I thought that hand was like a really cool moment, just in the sense that he's having a good time. Like he doesn't care that much about protecting his strategy or his information or anything like that. He's just like, I'm going to show you the quads.
Yeah.
Whereas like, it's funny because if he had just made a full house, he probably would just be like, whatever.
Right.
Well,
You
like
know?
in the sense of, you can see it in 30 minutes on the broadcast.
Yeah.
You know?
But like with quads, it's just
It's
like, nah, you know what? I'm just going to show you quads.
I ain't going to make you sweat this one, bro.
Right.
If he just makes a full house, he might just call.
No.
Possibly.
Bottom full? Yeah, maybe.
Maybe bottom full. Yeah.
Well,
Actually,
like, it's not about
depends.
the hand, right? It's about what you can get called by that's worse.
Right.
So like there's clearly a threshold where like the board was, if we can recall, 9
9-8-5.
9-6-5.
because Flo's at 7-8.
Yeah,
9-6-5.
Queen.
Queen 5.
Right.
So like, yeah, like having sixes there, like you have to find
And
a target that's
it
worse.
depends on what the other card was, right? Like if it's a 9.
If it's a 9, maybe he just calls. If it's a
Yeah.
6, he probably has to just get it in, right? I mean, you could still be against 6-5.
Yeah.
But like Flo's, I think just like
Or
led.
Queen 6 suited, right? Flo's didn't lead. Lena led. Flo's called. Other guy called. Griff called. Check. Lena checks. Flo's bets.
Right,
Call.
yeah.
Fold.
Yeah.
Then bet all in.
Okay. Yeah.
So he didn't lead. He just bet when check two.
Right,
When
but Lena led,
which
is still.
yeah, but Flo's can't play raises.
Point is that the chip leader, or not the chip leader, but the original raiser was getting led into on the flop.
Yeah.
So that condenses Flo's range a lot. Like Queen 6 is pretty optimistic. Even to be completing from the big blind and then calling a small blind lead, it's there, just not a lot.
He doesn't bet the turn with it though. Probably. Well, he might. It depends. You know,
He turns
it's
a queen.
turn 2 pair. Yeah, it's weird because he can't play raises because the opener is uncapped to an extent.
Right.
So he's gonna have like really strong hands in his range.
Yeah.
But having like sixes there, even like sevens, like you have to think about the spot too. Or like, yeah, maybe in theory you just like get the money and like hope he has sixes, but like, do you really want to risk like a once in a lifetime opportunity? And like,
Right.
you know, it's that weird in between of how. Like Flo's knew as soon as he got jammed on, he's like, "Fuck! Like, A, I bet too big, and B, I never win."
He definitely bet way too big, but yeah, definitely
Like-
also never. I mean,
please don't jam, please don't
Right.
jam. As soon as you hear it all in, like your heart just sinks. You're like,
Yeah.
this is a value hand down the drain.
you know, it's funny. We were talking about this in our Discord chat, and I actually think it's a really good point. Not to go too far off on a tangent, but I think the unspoken thing that we keep coming back to when it comes to the main event is the opportunity cost of busting it, and to some degree, I think that you can begin to introduce risk of ruin calculations into a lot of these decision-making processes. Not necessarily to actually quantify what the risk of ruin is, but just to understand that everybody internalizes the risk of ruin.
And it's not even final 2 tables down. It's like final 5. You know, like
I think it starts on day 1. What I'm getting at is like the reason why we talk so much about like river play is because there's no more equity to be distributed, and now people don't properly polarize due to the risk of ruin factor, right? So at the end of the day, so many people are internalizing the risk of ruin and the opportunity cost of going broke that they miss out on proper polarized strategies. And that's where this clairvoyance comes from, where it's like, oh, this guy took a very polarizing action, but
doesn't have the bottom.
Cares about busting. So therefore, I can deduce he doesn't have the bottom.
Right.
And now I'm going to fold a hand that clearly has to call.
You have to fold the hand that is like within the middle, like called top pair with a straight blocker.
Or just like a straight and float situation.
Yeah.
Right? It's like without that risk of ruin calculation, his hand has to call.
Right.
Like he should be getting bluffed there plenty.
But in this situation, he never is.
Right, and he should
But
just
is he?
Right, and he should be
No.
getting jammed on by like ace 5 here some of the time, or a hand like 7-5.
Yeah.
I guess he doesn't have 7-5, but 5-4 maybe.
Right.
You know,
Probably like in a chips situation, but like
Correct.
at final table, right?
Right,
now,
right,
like,
yeah,
because final table accounts for risk premiums as a
Fair.
whole. But day 1, I see what you're saying for sure.
yeah.
Like you just have spots where your hand is worth more money, but the risk of putting in more money and getting a good thing to happen isn't as good for you as putting in the money and having a bad
It never
thing
becomes
happen.
more apparent than those situations of like what can possibly call me, because we start to reduce the hands that would even have crossed the threshold to bet to begin with, let alone be happy to call off.
It's a weird in between, because then you start thinking, okay, what hands can call me? I can probably bluff more, but then their range is so condensed towards having the good hands
Right.
too much.
To
And you're
bluff
like,
more, you have to be able to block those good hands, which means that you probably just had a hand that was good enough to call to begin with.
Yeah, because you beat the things that you're trying to beat.
Right.
Yeah. Weird game. Very weird game.
Very interesting path here for Jordan as he got to the final table. He
Sure as
actually
hell.
hit a miracle 2 outer.
Well, he got scammed and re-scammed.
Yeah, basically.
Got queens in versus threes, flopped with a 3, and then he was like, thought he was over, and then queen. Mamacita River.
We all thought he was over. They found that miracle queen on the
Need
end.
the Patrick Mamacita.
It's a big fucking queen,
That's
man.
a huge mama. That's a big Mamacita.
Yeah, that's a big queen. So, you know, like, it's interesting because I don't know that there's really a betting market out there for this, but like predictive markets are just something that we as gamblers enjoy dabbling in. And if I were to like long or short people, I would short Jordan just because his expectation at ICM is like second place money.
For sure.
And it's no slight against him. It's just
it's hard to outperform that.
Right. It's hard to outperform that, and the competition is really stiff. So coming in second in chips, who's not far behind him with 94 big blinds, is Brian Kim.
Right.
And it's like whenever you get a guy who's, I mean, Brian and Lena may be the strongest two final tablists together that we've seen in recent history. Like we've seen Korai win it, we saw Espen win it, and Attenborough was no slouch, finishing second to Espen. But I mean, you know, let's call a spade a spade. Like Attenborough's a great poker player. He's not banging it out at the Triton.
He's
regularly.
A cash guy, I think.
I mean, that's where I had experience with him.
Yeah.
So like the point
You've
is,
played a little cash with Kim as well, right?
I've played a bunch of cash with Kim. Yeah.
Yeah.
But like, you know, Kim's a regular in the Triton tour, and Lena is obviously an online crusher who has recently started taking to live. I think he's playing a little bit on the Triton tour as well. These guys are going to outperform their chip counts. Like, you know, end of the day, they're second and third in chips, both with 94 big blinds. These are tough fucking outs, man.
Yeah.
Like with resumes like what they have, where, you know, Brian's played for seven figures before. His biggest lifetime score is 954K.
He had a deep run in the main a couple years ago too. He got 23rd.
Yeah. Yeah. So no stranger to this. Lena, shockingly, his biggest score is only
Hall of
300.
Fame inductee Lena.
Well, here's another thing. It's like it's difficult to put somebody in the Hall of Fame whose biggest score is only 380K. Like he's this event tops his biggest score.
Not a live guy, right?
Also tops Brian Kim's biggest score also, right? Which is kind of crazy to think about. Like when these
hard
guys,
to get $1 million. Well, I guess when you're playing Triton events, but
right.
Even then, it's still tough. You have to like win
still
the
tough.
tournament.
Yeah, it's true. It's hard to get $1 million.
You know, you need to win the tournament if you're playing Tritons. Point is that like I think both of these two become the odds-on favorites, even though they're at a chip deficit to Jordan.
Yeah, but it's not that much.
I mean, it's 40 blind or 50 blinds.
Yeah,
it's a 50 blind deficit, but I don't think that matters because the utility of having this chip lead stack comes from being able to take from others strategically, and Brian and Nicholas are going to be so much more well versed at how to navigate these spots.
Something important too is that when the levels decrease, the stacks will shallow out inevitably.
And there's a big difference between 140 and 90 and 80 and 30.
Right.
Or like, it just gets to the point where they both have like 60, and then the chip leader has like 85. You know, like after the next level goes down. So they're still behind the chip leader, but they like win a pot, and then like they're the chip leader.
Right, but I think Brian's point is really important. These guys aren't close to out.
No.
Right? It's way different if the chip leader if the chip leader has 50 and they both have 20.
Yeah. They're really deep in 2-hour structured tournaments.
Right. They're not like if they both have 20 blinds and the chip leader has 50, they're not odds-on favorites to win it any longer because the 7 people or the 6 people beneath
they can just lose an all in.
Yeah, they could just lose an all in. The 6 people beneath them could just double and suddenly be in good chip position.
Yeah.
But like that's not what we're talking about here. We're talking about they are almost 100 big blinds deep.
In any other tournament, they're both like overwhelming chip leaders during the series.
Correct.
With 100 bigs.
Correct. So instead, they're second and third in chips, but I think it's like neck and neck. I don't know the table positioning. I would say whichever one has position on the other becomes the odds-on favorite.
That makes sense.
And then the next one becomes second. So if Lena is to the left of Brian, I think he's probably the odds-on favorite, where Brian would be the second biggest favorite, and then the chip leader third. But if roles are reversed, then I would say, you know, just I'm not trying to slight Jordan. It's just experience-wise, it's very difficult for him to have the level of edge that Brian and Lena will have off of these stacks and their ability to navigate. And right behind them is Joe Sirac.
So
he's not that far behind either with 84 bigs.
Here goes the seat. Whatever. Boris is in 1. Malo Latinos is in 2. 3 is Brian Kim. 4 is Lena.
Can you share this so we can just see?
Sounds like Lena's to the left of Brian, though.
Lena is to the left of Brian, and to the left of him is Joe Sirac.
Right.
And to the left of him is the chip leader.
Wow, that's a
Jordan
god seat.
Griff.
Okay.
Chip leader.
I will say that definitely evens the playing field a lot.
Yeah.
He has the absolute god seat. The 3 best players at the table who have second, third, and fourth in chips are immediately to his right.
That's amazing.
That's actually really crazy.
That might make him
insanity.
not. That might make him more of like a favorite than Lena. I don't know. I mean, maybe not. I assume the skill gap is just so large.
Yeah, I mean, look,
just because Lena is one of the best.
If we're taking everything at face, and you had your choice between buying Jordan Griff at ICM or Lena at ICM,
right?
I think buying Lena at ICM is just going to outperform.
Yeah.
Because his likelihood of getting third plus is just going to be so much higher, in spite of the fact that Jordan's chip stack will allow him to get third or better.
It's just like you're trying to think about, okay, like what's the most average result for both of these guys, and you'd probably say like Lena's probably somewhere between average place like 4th and like 2nd and a half, 4th to 2nd, and then like chip leader is probably somewhere between like 4th to 2nd, but he's in 1st.
Yeah.
Right.
So like now you have to try to say, okay, if I'm buying these two things at the same value, I'd want the one where I'm getting money for the third place.
There's also just a question of like how often do they win it. It's like Jordan wins it a fair amount of time. Like whatever his fair probability is, it's probably around that he wins it. I think Lena and Brian win it an unfair amount of the time. Right? They just win it slightly more often.
Couple more percentage
Right.
points.
And same thing with flows. Like if flows can somehow okay, so they are less shallow than I thought. The chip leader only has 90 big blinds, so they must be coming back to 15K.
It's a weird in between, right? Because we're at this point where the chip leader kind of gets to go nuts while the short stacks are still existent.
So this distribution changes my opinion a little bit. They're getting close enough to being shallow to where whoever busts the shorties are going to really gain a big edge.
They ended at 1.2 million.
Yeah, they must be coming back to 1.5.
1.6 maybe. I don't know how.
I would assume 1.6. I think they got rid of the 0.6 levels.
Things will happen fast for sure. It's just a matter of do the short stacks double or not, because what's going to have to happen is chip leaders going to be aggressively putting people all in or like playing strategies that force others out of pots. So the longer the short stacks are in, the better it is for the chip leader.
I really like if I were to buy one player at the final table at ICM value, I think it would be Flows. Like I think that he would be the buy. Because you get him a little bit cheaper than everybody else, and he kind of has a god seat on like him having the chip leader to his left isn't as damaging when the chip leader is an amateur.
Yeah,
he's just not going to ICM pressure nearly as much, which now lets Flows kind of become the absorbed chip leader.
People
if he just wins
incentives,
a pot.
Like what if for in Griff's situation, like just trying to make as much money as possible, and that's like, okay, I don't really want to try to like maximize the spot where you're like going really hard with some like big jams or big 3-bets and playing pots versus really good players, versus like, okay, my stack for sure, like if I just play conservatively, I can get like final 5+.
Right.
Like there's a different strategy to like making real life dollars than theoretically maximizing your EV.
Yeah. And I mean, Flows has been around forever, man. This guy's just like tried and true, tested.
Seen it all, done it all.
Yeah.
Still plays a lot online.
Let me ask you guys. You got one pick. Who you taking? Burke, who you got?
To win the whole thing?
To win the whole thing.
I think Lena.
Lena? Who you got? Tortoise?
Probably Kim.
Kim?
Give me Kim because he said he had a dream.
All right.
Kim said he FT'd the main in his dreams.
I like Lena as well.
Right.
I'll go with the online guy.
I'm going with my boy Jordan Griff.
Let's go.
The man that's about to 2,000x his fucking life earnings.
That's
he has
amazing.
47,000. Actually, it's more than 2,000x, right? No, it's about 2,000. He has 47K in earnings, and the man's he's destined to do it.
Dude, the main's so cool.
He's just gonna get it
so
done.
many people that play this tournament literally only come to play this tournament.
Ask me who I got finished in third.
Who you got finishing third?
Tamayo. Not kidding.
No, seriously.
He's
200.
He would be my second buy at ICM. Like, I think he's a no-brainer buy at ICM. I think he has like 15 bigs.
Depends if
He
he's
has
holding
17, and he just finds his way to wiggle to third
bigs,
or fourth place.
17 bigs. The kid is a kings and ace magnet. I mean, he just like gets the big hand. He gets the big hand so frequently that he just like gave up queens because he's like, I'll get better.
Yeah.
It's fine.
Future game.
I think that like he will not bust. He's a fucking cockroach in that regard.
It's funny because like right before the Queen's hand, he like jammed A6 off in a spot where put his life on the line.
It was easier. It was like big blind versus button.
It was something like that.
But yeah, I mean, and it was also prior to 10-handed. I thought
it was.
Yeah, so they're 5-handed. I mean, this is way not comparable. I saw Tony put that tweet out, but like they're side by side. They're not the same spot.
No, of course, but still a spot.
I mean, he's 2 away from the final table as opposed to 1. He's at a 10-handed final table facing Underleon Open as opposed to a 5-handed table facing Button Open. Like,
sure.
Very, 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 very different.
Sure.
Jason Siegel comes in 5th in chips. He has 67 million. He resides in Niagara Falls, Ontario.
Won the tag team, right?
Old stomping grounds. No, that guy busted.
Oh, okay. It's a different Jason. Wasn't it a Jason?
Might have been a Jason. He got 14th.
Yeah, sorry.
This man comes from our old stomping grounds in Niagara Falls. Why I say our old stomping grounds, that's just where we went to Sundowners.
What's Sundowners?
It's a restaurant.
Yeah.
It's a buffet restaurant.
It's a strip club with a buffet in it, I assume.
It was a fucking buffet, all right. Lamanna enjoyed all the side dishes.
Who got in 6th place?
Jason. We still have Jason in 6th.
All right.
So he's coming in. He has total live earnings of 1.6 million. Man, it's so crazy how many people are like surpassing their total live earnings or potentially surpassing their total live earnings with just this final table.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, you love to see it. Like, it's such a mix. We have a guy like Flows who's just a lifer. He's been around forever. You have a guy like Jason who's a rank amateur. You have a guy like Jordan who's kind of in the same boat. Neither one of them have much of a resume. Then you have like 2 big time high rollers, one in the online scene, one in the live scene between Brian and Lena. And then Boris Angelov, coming from Bulgaria. He is 52 million. I'm pretty sure he's a big time online grinder as well. He's had a lot of success in WSOP Europe, as well as online. So it looks like his live earnings are just shy of $1 million. So he's going to more than double that with wherever he finishes here. He kind of just like snuck his way through here. Like, I don't remember a single notable pot that he played throughout the course of this, which is maybe the right way to go about it.
Yeah.
You know?
Nice and quiet.
Like, just got 53 million in chips. Don't remember
telling
a single
everybody,
hand.
slow and steady wins the race.
He got in like queens versus tens, and it was like he was just all in a couple times. He was like very excited.
But like, getting in queens versus tens, he just has it. Yeah, I remember he held. He gave the
he gave a lot of excitement.
That is the thing I remember the most of him. Yeah. When he wins when he wins the all-ins,
the rail goes crazy.
Yeah, he's very excited. So this is where the gap kind of comes in now between the final 3 in chips, which is Tamayo at 27 million, Malo Latin. Oh God, these French names, man. Latinois comes in at 26.
That looks like how you would pronounce Latin.
Exactly.
Latinos.
And then you said it, not me.
Latinois.
No, Landon's right. It's Latinois.
Yeah.
And then Andres Gonzalez from Spain comes in with 18 million.
Come on, man, that was an easy one.
I got it right.
I know.
Fuck are you laughing for?
Like, I was a while
and every French name with "wa" in your
these 3 are kind of in pretty tough spots. Like, I could see it going from 9 to 6 rather quickly, but I can also see a world where Tamayo gets it in with kings and holds as he should. Man, who's sicker about that?
That's if he doesn't fold.
Fold.
Kings pre-flop.
Your dad jokes, man. Come on. Let them pass every now and again. Who's sicker about that Queen's fold? All of the internet or Brian Rast?
We said it yesterday. Rast is turning over in his grave.
He has to want to die, right? I mean,
he literally wants to die. Like, what the fuck just happened? He saw the hand and he just went fucking black.
I mean, I get it. Like, 4 chips, the ace queen call off is like breaking even, I imagine. Like, he was getting exactly the right price versus a range of hands that are supposed to 4-bet jam there. But against Jonathan Tamayo, I imagine it's a torch. And I hate to say it because I think Rast put on one hell of a performance. Like, if we were rooting for anybody to final table this, it was him and Kristen.
It's kind of one of those things that you can not only know in retrospect, but seeing it in retrospect makes it a lot easier to come to the conclusion.
Yeah, I mean, you could definitely know in real time.
Or like, if you saw, like in that spot with ace queen, like let's just say Tamayo, like a king queen suited or like an ace queen suited or something, it's like, oh, okay. Like, you're not running into the blade, but then like seeing something like that with like more info, you're like, oh man, I don't like.
He's treading lightly, to say the least.
I'm gonna need that ace right now.
Ain't ever gonna be jacks.
No.
Jacks were going to hit the muck, you know?
Yeah.
Under the gun, Brian Rast, of all people, 3-betting. We looked down at 2 Jacks in the small blind.
Yeah, I didn't play the main event to take this spot.
Not today, Tortoise.
That's right.
Not today. You ain't getting me today, Satan.
You know what? I'm on your side. Let's go to Mayo. He's going to win the whole thing.
I
Let's
mean,
go. That's my guy. I mean, he's folding queens in the main event, and it's got to be my guy.
of course he's your guy. He's been dressed for this moment since 2004.
McKeon put out a tweet. You guys will never guess what the short Asian man's going to be wearing tomorrow. So I really wanted to see him in a
He's gonna wear
76ers jersey.
Honestly, if he showed up in anything other than Jake from State Farm khakis, it would be the greatest. Like, it would really show his sense of humor if he just showed up in like a t-shirt and jeans.
Yeah.
I've played softball with him, and I'm pretty sure he wore khakis and a fucking polo.
God, I really
I'm
wish
like 99% sure.
I really wish he wears like a onesie or something.
Would be absolutely incredible. I love Jonathan's spot, to be honest. I mean, I would love it more if he had the extra 7 blinds that he passed on with the queens, but I think that he's like very careful, very meticulous about how he puts chips in the middle. He has enough big blinds where he's not just going to blind down to 0. The 2 below him are going to have to make moves. And I think we're going to see a lot of battling for kind of dominance, so to speak, at the final table with 1, 2, 3, and 4 all being lined up together. So this can go one of 2 ways, right? Either the 4 of them can say, hey, this is super fucking flat and winning the event is really worth a lot, so I'm going to war. Or the 4 of them can kind of just say, like, let's all sit around and wait for these 3 to bust or double and figure it out. My gut tells me that they're not going to do that. Flows is a little bit more of the careful-ish type, doesn't really put in chips unnecessarily. He's not going to... You know, you're not going to see him a lot in there with the middle of range. I don't think we're going to see a lot of like queen jack offsuit type of 3-betting or going to war with anything like that. But I think BK and Lena might just get after it. And I could see a world where Jordan's just like pretty content to chill and let these guys duke it out.
Yeah.
I could see a world where like winning the main event isn't necessarily priority number 1. It's getting down to the final 3 and then letting Jesus take the wheel from there.
Jesus!
Kind of reminds me a little bit of the Nick Mannion year when he came in with just like infinite chips, but had no real plan of attack other than get 3rd or better.
He got aces versus kings with 10 left in the main event. What life?
And somehow they both called off.
Yeah.
Like if ever there was a spot to fold kings, it was the last guy who called it all off.
The Brent Ritchie.
Just imagine that spot.
Aces.
Just wild.
Oh
You have aces? Yeah, I have aces.
By the way,
wild.
that Tamayo hand, it might have not went the way that we thought.
What do you
because, like, he might have picked up a lot more than the 7 big blinds. All the aces was out, and somebody behind him had ace queen off.
Yeah, it
That'd
was
have been interesting.
I think it was Sagal had ace queen off behind, and he's not a folder. We saw him bust the 10th place person with 9-7 off.
Yeah.
Where he just called off 10. I mean, you know, he basically said it. He's like, I'm really good at the lucky part.
Like, when it comes down to it, anything could happen. But all the aces were out of the deck, and he had ace queen.
I mean, he basically was just kind of like, look, I don't kid myself. I don't think I'm the best poker player in the world, but I'm really fucking good at getting lucky. So I have a framework through which I operate. Ace queen falls within that frame.
I didn't know this. I want to rescind my vote.
Okay.
I got Jason Sagal.
Oh, you want the lucky guy?
Yeah, fuck that good shit. I'm done. I'm over that.
Should definitely put
I want
a lot
the lucky
more,
guy. Fuck this.
A lot more behind the lucky guy for sure.
Best dollar player, better than best player.
Yeah, that actually is very true. So Gonzalez actually had a successful series already. He got 3rd in the 1500 freeze out for 200K. And now he's coming in here last in chips with 10 big blinds. But again, anything can happen in the main. I'm really curious how this is going to start off. Because it could very easily go really, really slow with the chip distributions.
Yeah, I mean, the short stacks all double, and then you're playing a slow.
Not even that. Not even that. It's more so that Flows, Lena, and Brian all kind of have stacks that have to tread carefully. Like, they can't lose 4 or 5 single race pots in a row. You know what I mean? Because now all of a sudden it puts them down in the 25 to 30 big blind zone, maybe 40 big blind, whatever.
But at the same time, if either Kim or Lena were able to accumulate some chips in the beginning, Like they're just able to like.
Right, you can run away with it.
They can literally run away because I don't think whatever. As you were speaking on Jordan, he's probably not going to punish too much.
Right. Look, he's in a position where it's like under the gun with an ace open.
Yeah.
But I don't think that's going to happen.
Agreed.
I think he's going to look at like ace 9 offsuit under the gun, muck.
Also, when
and kind of let the game like come to him.
The problem is when he's under the gun. Also, you have Kim on the button, Lena in the small blind, and Sirach in the big. So I think
Kim's not on the button. Oh yeah, he would be. Yeah.
So he's in a real shitty spot. Like,
well, I mean, he still has position on 2 out of the 3 best players.
Yeah, but they're also going to VPIP a decent amount, or Sirach will.
Yeah, from the big.
It's
yeah.
You don't really want to put yourself in situations.
I mean, depends how much they're respecting ICM too.
He's probably going to play a small blind pretty tight.
I could see Kim and Lena trying to get out jump out from the races.
I'll say this, and this is not what happened last year, and it should not be what happens this year, but I think it will be. I think this is going to strictly become a distribution war. Okay. So I actually think now, seeing that the blinds are higher than what I thought they were initially, I think that we're just going to see a kind of more standard-ish final table play out where it's just like a lot of conservative play by the middle stacks, a lot of, pushing it with pairs and strong ace highs for the short stacks, and very little punishing from the large stacks. I think that they're there to kind of just like police the action a little bit and try to pick up blinds uncontested where they can.
Yeah, I think it all goes by how Gonzalez gets knocked out, because he has 11 big blinds. So in the beginning, I could see like some people, Kim, Lena, maybe putting some pressure on the other stacks because nobody wants to play a big pot when somebody has 11 bigs in this spot. So I could see them just trying to go for it in a way. Yeah,
I think the seat distribution makes that difficult though. I guess that's like the big thing.
But do you think they think that because, like, Griff is going to come out? Like,
no. But like, there's still just the aspect that he can get dealt good hands.
No, of course, and sometimes
so you still have to respect that stack being to your left in some capacity.
Kind of, in a way. Like, it's going to be single raise pots for the most part. So it's
look, it's more and more difficult for each and every one of them, right? Like, Lena's the one Brian's the one furthest out of position, right? He's going to play the tightest by a long shot. Like, Brian's going to play.
Yeah, you're right.
I actually like.
Brian has to play.
I think Brian is like a dog to win the whole thing.
Bad seat for sure, because then when you open, most of the time, some of the people behind aren't just going to only play 3-bet or fold. There's still going to be calls behind.
Right.
So now you have to play single raise pots out of position.
And on top of that, like, collisions that occur also negatively affect you, because now you just build a greater chip leader to your left. Right, so like, if Lena and Flows end up all in, one of them just ends up with like 2.5x your stack, and is also to your left to deal with.
He's just going to probably continually be caged unless he wins a big pot.
Exactly, unless he's the one who overtakes the chip lead, which is possible, but it's going to be a byproduct of distribution.
Yeah, winning it all in, getting some rejam spots through,
and that's kind of what I'm getting at, is like that same problem still exists for Lena, just slightly less because he's one seat better.
Yeah, it's weird, man, because the payouts aren't like, they're very top heavy.
Yeah,
so
you got to go for it, but like you have to go for it carefully.
There's a weird in between of trying to not like do too much.
There's also the aspect that it's like really hard for Lena and Kim to play 3-bet pots, because the people to their right are tightish and short, right? So it's like there isn't going to be a lot of you can't 3-bet Tamayo, Gonzalez.
Well, you can. You're just 3-betting not only to play polar strategies.
Right, but
you're not getting called.
Sure.
You're getting jammed on your folds.
Yes, but my point is more so that like you're not playing a 3-bet pot for multiple streets.
Yeah, that's rare anyways.
No, it's not. Like in this seat distribution, like if Jordan Griff were Lena instead, if Lena had 143 million in his seat, he would mostly be playing 3-bet pots.
He would mostly be 3-betting, but it doesn't mean he's going to get flatted.
That's fair. Okay,
you see what I'm saying?
Yeah,
like, 3-bet
pots
fair. Just don't happen because the out of position player isn't incentivized to play them.
That's fair.
Unless it's the chip leader who can play flats because they can ravage post.
Right.
So like 3-bet pots are rare to begin with.
If you like flip the seat distribution where it's like Jordan is in Brian's seat.
Yeah.
And then
because now they're
everybody
going to 3-bet him polar, but he's still allowed to play calls.
That was the point that I was trying to get at, is that like a lot of the way that these guys could emerge is by playing large pots.
But
obviously.
they can't play large pots at the moment.
Exactly,
Right.
exactly. With the seat distribution being what it is, they just won't be capable of playing large pots
Unless they're jamming on the chip leader, right?
Unless they're all in pots.
And then they can play. You win the all-in, you win the tournament,
yeah.
you know?
So, I mean, if you remember back to last year, like, Walton was a big, he was a big, like, question mark or variable to that final table. He really pushed a lot of action. He disobeyed ICM in a lot of spots.
He went for it.
And also, everybody else kind of recognized how flat the payouts were. If you remember, Toby ended up getting it in with like King Jack off of like, I think 18, which is, it was just good. Yeah. But it was also just like not a main event final table play that we were accustomed to seeing.
Right.
Because people navigate, like, thinking back to 2 years ago when Espen won it, Matt Sue came in with the chip lead in 60 big blinds. And that final table was so tight. So tight. Like, people were just like open folding eights in middle position. You know, would just like fold to them and they're just like, not this one. You know? It would be like hijack open, ace 10 suited on the button, fold. Yeah. Like really, really, really snug. And I think that's the main event final table type of play that we're accustomed to seeing. Where last year, I think everybody kind of went in and was like, we're playing to win because we get $1 million basically from now until fourth.
Right.
So it's like, I don't care that much about a couple $100,000.
12.1 the first.
Yeah, and it's like, whatever, a couple $100,000 pay jump doesn't really mean shit. So they all went hard, and we went from 9 to 3, lickety split. You know, that day played down really fast.
Yeah.
I think we might see more of a bottleneck today.
Yeah. Where
it's going to be that kind of slow, sluggish, grind it out. You know, a lot of single raise pots, a lot of just grinding and you know, check jamming from the short stacks, defending off the big, or you know, maybe we see a crazy distribution where it's just confrontation after confrontation after confrontation. Yeah. I guess my bigger point is that we're not. I don't expect to see an ICM clinic.
Yeah, not gonna be a lot of.
Well, I just don't expect to see an ICM clinic. I don't expect to see the chip leader like going hard with ace jack off, facing an under the gun open by somebody who has 60 bigs.
Yeah. One can only hope.
Yeah, I want to see fucking chaos, man.
Blood.
Maybe you are supposed to flat that one for what it's worth. But.
I don't think he'll play it. Is my point. I think he'll just fold it.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. And it's weird because there's definitely an in between of playing very high stakes poker for a lot of money and taking. Not like taking spots, but playing spots that are good or bad for you. You know, like playing single raise pots or just pots in general versus like some of the best players in the world isn't really that great for you when they're really good at poker.
That's going back to the risk of ruin point. That's kind of the thing, right? It's like for Jordan, it would be dumb to try to win this tournament, right? Like, I don't know his financial situation, but I do have a strong suspicion that as an amateur poker player, getting third for him is the equivalent of any professional winning it. You know, like picking up $4 million from the main event is
even picking up 3 and getting top 4.
Yeah,
you know, like
it's just like this is massive life-changing money, and you have to take that calculation into your style of play. So
the solver is infinite money, you know?
Right? Anything that comes from like ramping up variance and harming your chip position, it's like, sure, you're not going to win the tournament as often as you're supposed to.
But you're not going to get last.
Right, you're not going to get ninth ever.
Yeah.
Like that would be, I'm sure it would feel like real like opportunity lost having a stack that's probably worth somewhere around $4 to $6 million and then getting 8th place for 1.2.
It happened to Matsu.
Yeah, and he
came in
wants
chip
to cry,
and he got
like,
ninth.
Yeah,
you know, and it's like that's I guess the point is. If Jordan plays the way that we expect him to, he will literally never get ninth.
And that's worth a lot.
A lot to him, I assume, right? And honestly, like, it should be worth a lot to every single human that made this final table.
Yeah.
But there's ego attached. There's stigma attached to, like, a guy like Brian Kim, if he were to navigate this in a way where he's trying to just not get ninth, we would criticize him for it because he plays buy-ins as large as what he's guaranteed to cash
That's
for.
Probably
right
like $1 million in December, right?
Yeah,
exactly. Play the one drop.
Exactly, right. So it's like when that's the case, we hold you to a higher bar where it's like, no, you aren't allowed to consider
How dare
the money
you? How
factor.
dare you play conservatively? It's like the Greenwood tweet where he's like, everyone's playing so conservative in the most top-heavy tournament of the year, and the comments is like, how much makeup are you in, bro?
Right, and that's it's right to point out that that's tone deafness, because for most people, they have most or all of themselves in an event where each ladder is worth something
years of salary.
Yeah, I mean, it's worth something in the neighborhood of like 20 buy-ins. That's a lot of fucking. That's usually what you're playing for when you're winning.
It's different when you're like a high roller reg that does this on the daily versus someone that's just like
who's
taking
also
a
not
shot.
risking any money.
Yeah,
right. Like
your life's gonna be fine if you bubble the main event.
Yeah,
you know?
the money factor. That's why these guys are able to perform at an elite level at these high rollers, is because the money factor is taken out between selling it, slight markup, and reducing your own personal risk. They're playing relatively manageable ABIs, right? And when that's the case, of course, you're not going to step carefully in spots that are making money.
Like when you put this into its own situation, they're playing a one table sit and go for millions and millions of dollars. Like nobody's rolled to do that on their own.
Correct.
And like here you are in this spot with like a huge, like not chip disparity, but just like a ton of chips where your stack is worth a lot of money, and like getting 8th would really be kind of sad. But like
toxic.
Getting like 5th, for like 2.5, like you'll be all right.
Yeah.
Like there's just a difference of how much
you just like
real world dollars.
Yeah, you just wait it out and then you start playing the game with whatever stack you have remaining at
Gotta
a
find
certain
that in the
juncture.
solver, like what's your overall bankroll, and then
Yeah, I mean it's like
Make sure you get enough to pay for your taxes for the 9th place finish.
Yeah.
it's tough too, because like it's not like he can just sell off at ICM. People have to assume that he's at a bit of a skill disadvantage.
The good players like can, know, and they probably are / should.
Yeah.
Because now like your job is to play a game that's manageable for you and perform.
Right.
Like for like in like Brian Kim's standpoint, like in Lena's standpoint, like play the game you know how to play and win the most money, and then worry about like how much you're risking before the game starts.
Yeah. Precisely.
Get all that
and
stuff
that way,
done.
it's all out of the way. You don't have to consider it in game.
And some people are just like more, not like degen, but like just more risk on than others. And they're like, I don't want to sell because I know how good I am and I want to maximize this spot. Which there's like a fine line of responsibility.
I think there's a really fine line there. Right. Somebody put a tweet out. I don't know if it was Mike McDonald or if it was Galen Hall. I think it was Galen Hall. He tweeted something to the effect of, everybody's talking about like how conservative people are playing in the main event, yada, yada, yada. And or maybe he said like, I've pointed out a dozen different situations where people are playing way too conservative because it's the main event. And then I also look and say, I would have busted here. I would have busted here. I would have busted here. And that's kind of it. It's like there is a certain survivorship bias that comes with the lens through which we see these results. But it's also impossible to ignore that the game is not the game that we study in a vacuum. Right? The game is different whenever you're there in person. And that's why I think it's like you got to give so many props to Chrissy for going for it in a spot where, sure, if she's well rested and, able to really zoom out, maybe she'd be able to look at this and just say, okay, like I shouldn't go for it here. This isn't the one.
Right.
But on the back end of 8 long fucking days, grinding it out, having the heart to just say like, I don't really know what this hand does right now. But I know that folding feels really bad, and I have enough equity to just say, fuck it, to go for it in that spot and not just lean conservative and say, I'll pass on this one and I'll find the next one. It's like, of course, we wish she would have passed. But
that's because we can see the cards.
Yeah, to have the wherewithal to just like say, fuck it. Like I saw him just table queen 9 of clubs for a combo draw where he bluff jam turn. Like
bluff raise,
or bluff raise turn. Like maybe this is just it. Maybe this is the time where I do run into the 10 high flush draw. And
like the board is so good for him, he's going to keep going for it. So I'm going to reaggress and take it now.
Yeah.
And if he has like pocket 4s, pocket 5s, like, and she wins this pause, like there she is again, like Chrissy F, like the beast.
Yeah.
And for what it's worth, I'm saying all this with the grain of salt of like, I'm not a fan of the play.
Right.
But I'm a fan of the heart that it took to make the play. Like nobody's ever going to, especially from my point of view, like I'm never going to call anything too spew. Like if you had a read, if you had a reason for it, like fucking get after it. It's costing you money in the near term, but like when it works, you're a goddamn hero. Yeah. And like that's the stuff legends are made of. And like honestly, watching this final table play out, like maybe Tamayo just goes on to win it. Maybe he would have busted with the queens. I don't know. But like the point I made with the queen, I memed it obviously. But at the same time, like the speed and confidence with which he folded those 2 queens, at least tells me that it was a strategic decision.
He
had made his mind up. He had just decided like I'm absolutely not going to be at risk unless I have aces.
Mm-hmm. In this situation where short small blind is 5 bigs, where like this guy's way too short. I don't want to take the risk.
You think he would have
on
folded kings? As fast as he folded queens, you think he folded kings?
I think so.
Nah, kings
Kings are just worth so much more than queens. But
I mean, yes, they are. But I don't.
Yeah, maybe
he didn't
not.
want to flip for
like you
ace
said,
king.
maybe it's aces or nothing. So
nah,
maybe.
I doubt it. I think
it goes with the kings. But
anyways, I just think that like strategically, like you're saying, in that spot with people being short, he's like, I don't want to bust before them because this is a lot of money and it would feel irresponsible.
Yeah, it only happens 1 or 2% of the time, but the 1 or 2% of the time it happens, like I'm driving off a bridge.
Yeah,
right. It's like
weird.
hard to live with yourself.
Bridge equity is real.
Bridge equity is real. Exactly.
It's weird in the sense of like I can see worlds where doing that is a good idea depending on like who's in the blinds and who's opening off what stack. But like when it's the chip leader opening that's supposed to be wide.
Yeah.
Look, man, we know that.
We understand.
Both of the plays don't require any software to run.
Right.
Both of the plays on the surface you can look at immediately and just know that the decisions made are losing money.
And Bonomo did run it, and he said it was a mid six figure.
It's low
mistake.
six figures. It's like 137K mistake.
Yeah. Well, he said mid six figures.
He corrected himself.
Okay. So I mean, obviously it was in the moment, right? Of course, it was a big mistake, but it is what it is. He's there, and he has a chance to win. Let's go.
There's two different points to make here. Like one, the point of it being a 137K mistake is a very important one for people to internalize.
300 or 137?
137.
Okay.
The reason why it's important to internalize that is because the reason to fold the queens is to make the final table and gain that ladder. That ladder was only worth 200K. So by comparison, he's not even like accomplishing what he hopes to accomplish.
Right.
Like you're just making way more than the ladder on average by jamming here. But two, it's the other side of that coin, which is the difference between 10th and any other position is worth more than $137,000 to Jonathan Tamayo.
Right.
And like that's another important fact to internalize, where it's like we like to break things down to simple numbers and just say this is correct and this is incorrect. But we do so by like reducing all the variables down to the most simplistic form and making them static and then just analyzing what happens if nothing moves. But like you're playing the biggest event of your career that you will never be in the spot again, ever, unless you're Mark Newhouse. And you're put under the hot lights to make decisions for 6 and 7 figures on the fly. Maybe this was as simple as I don't have the access to sell off my stack right now, but if I can just make the final table,
now I can.
Now all of a sudden my stack is worth 1.8 million, and I can pocket $500,000 in my You know what I mean? Like it could be something. So there's so many things that can't be considered in isolation of this one exact hand.
Yeah.
And look, we get to have fun with it. Like,
of course.
Shout out to Tamayo for not just doing it but owning it and not being upset or trying to defend it.
Yeah, right.
God bless him for that. Like, that's such the right approach because, of course, we're going to meme it. You just snap muck queens on national television versus an open in a spot that everybody understands is theoretically a shove. But not everybody's going to pull that trigger either way, right? Like, not everybody's going to have the guts to shove, and not everybody would have the guts to fold if it's correct.
Right.
So it goes both ways.
I agree.
And I think that we get lost in all of that sort of critical feedback. Like it almost overshadows everything that they've accomplished. I think one of the biggest reasons why a lot of us are choosing not to hyper focus on the Chrissy hand is because of everything that happened prior to that.
Right.
She put on such a fucking display for 8 days. Same thing with Rast. It's like we could be hyper critical of the ace queen call off. Like
it's one hand out of hundreds of hands that they played.
Thousands of people who have nowhere near the pedigree of Rast or nowhere near the credentials of him would have folded that ace queen in a heartbeat.
Right.
And that doesn't matter.
No, it doesn't.
Right? And by comparison, it's like what they did for 8 days to entertain us, what they did making great plays, getting lucky, running well, running bad, all of these things, like that's why they were the storylines. And that's why we so desperately wanted them to go further and make the final table. And I think the biggest reason why people started to become overly critical of the Chrissy hand more so than the Rast one is because it was so close. They wanted her to final table so badly.
Bad. Of course.
And it was so close. It was right within reach. And she had overcome so much. She had hit an ace on the river. She had faded kings versus aces by trapping a hand that doesn't trap. She had made a bad fold with ace king on an ace. Bad being, he had a worse hand, not bad being...
not bad being bad fold, bad being bad result.
Yes. Results were.
We're all screaming at the table, fold, Chrissy, just fold, please fold. But
right, and it's like one of those things. And she just drills a 10, like it's a shrug, like that wasn't the best play in the world, but who cares?
Yeah, who cares? You got all the chips. Let's go.
Yeah. So I mean, nothing is like the main event, and I think that one of the biggest things that we lack as a community as a whole are channels to really hyper focus on this, which is why we're spending 2 hours today instead of 60 minutes like usual. There just isn't enough propping this up in the real time. When it comes back, the problem is who watches the replays.
Right.
I don't even know when they're on. I don't even know what channel they're on. I've never watched a single replay post ESPN.
Right. They were so good when ESPN was on, but now that it's live and people want things immediately.
It was live on ESPN though too.
Not originally.
Yeah, for the last 15 years, 20 years.
No, not like.
Don't you remember
when Moneymaker was not live? Like
okay, not 20 years, but like.
Yeah, if they started going live when maybe
2012. I watched Russell live.
Did we?
Yeah. Don't you remember Olivier Bousquet is the sideline reporter? Kara Scott, Antonio was in the booth with Maria Ho.
Yeah, maybe.
It was a big live event that they would run on ESPN2.
Yeah, maybe 2012. Okay, so yeah, that's right. Maybe like 10 years removed from like Moneymaker. But,
yeah, we're like 12, 13 years into I mean, even Jerry Yangier, we watched it on pay-per-view.
Right.
Live.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
That was 2007.
Wow,
right.
pay-per-view.
We watched Joe Cata
that was
live.
The first time they did something.
Yeah, so it was 2007. We watched Joe Cata live at Mesa Verde in 2009. I mean, this has been live streamed for 15 plus years. But the difference is the hype of ESPN brought us all, like, it was a big event when it happened, but then it was a big reveal to the rest of the world.
Take us back, ESPN.
Right? It was a big reveal to the rest of the world when it came out on ESPN. Now, with the way that media travels,
streaming services,
the internet, all that stuff, it needs to be hyper-focused now, right? Like, similar to the All-Star Game, similar to major events that happen in other sports. Yeah. I don't know how we do a better job of hyping it in the near term. But, like, I hope that we start to trend that way.
Yeah.
Because, like, man, every year it brings the poker fan back out of me, which I spend 364 days suppressing. It's like I'm on the mic all fucking year long talking about how online's dead and the tournaments are the fucking worst thing in the world and all this other. It's like, I say it tongue in cheek. I obviously don't believe these things to be entirely true, but I also recognize a lot of the problems that these spaces exist in. When the main event comes around, all that goes away. This is like the one and only unicorn that we still have, that it doesn't matter to what degree you play the game. You are absolutely locked in from day 1 down to day 10.
And that's why it's the only 10K that can get 10,000 unique players to come play it every single year. It's wild.
Yeah, man. What do you think? I don't even want to speculate. I don't even want to speculate. Anyway, good luck to the 9 remaining contenders. We're rooting for violence on your behalf. Of
course.
I want to see a lot of bloodshed. I hope that there's just bangers back and forth. Yeah, metaphorically speaking. I think it's going to be Lon, Maria, and Norman on the call. I'm not entirely positive of that, though. Hopefully a little bit of night shift sneaks its way in there at some point in time. We'll see. But I believe the coverage begins at 3 p.m. on PokerGo, so be sure to tune in if you guys are interested in this. We'll be back tomorrow at 10:30 a.m., hopefully celebrating Landon's deep run in the closer, as well as recapping day 9 of the WSOP
Hopefully we won't
main.
be here because we'll be in day 2 of the closer.
That would be great. Hopefully it's just me, Conrad, and probably Jesse. I'll see if he's free again tomorrow. That's going to do it for us. We'll see you guys all tomorrow morning. Best of luck to the remaining 9.
Peace.
Later, squad.